Hello, this podcast is brought to you by Running the Light, the debut novel from legendary Denver comedian Sam Tallent. This book, I thought it was going to be a story that I loved and some prose that I would tolerate, but it turned out to be a story that I love and prose that blew me away. It's incredibly well written. Sam is a literary genius as well as a comedic genius. I told a friend that Sam writing the book, a book this good, was as if like one of the Cumtown guys had written Blood Meridian. It's that weird and out of place that someone who is so known for his comedy writes something this good for a debut novel. Mark Maron said reading this book made him feel like he had relapsed on drinking and cocaine. So that's quite a blurb. So you go to samtalent.com to order your signed copy of the novel. Check out the audiobook on Audible with chapters narrated by Mark Normand, Joe List, Doug Stanhope, Ari Shafir, and other white male comedians. I'm just kidding. I'm sure there's other... Whatever. That's samtalent.com. Talent with two L's. TALLENT.com. samtalent.com. Okay, let's get going with the intro. This is the first podcast I'm releasing, so I really appreciate you listening to it. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the podcast on Apple and writing a review, a 5-star review, I know that this is a big deal for podcasts to get these good reviews, yada, yada, yada. So thank you very much for listening. I talked to Sam in Fort Collins. Sam lives in Fort Collins now. He was living in Denver for a very long time. I tried to catch him in Denver when I was there, the first time I was there on this trip, and I wasn't able to get him. He had some shows and some stuff come up, but I'm glad I put it off because I ended up going to his home in Fort Collins. So he's since moved to Fort Collins in the middle of the pandemic, and he talks about that and what Fort Collins means to him. For right now, it means having a garage to mail his novels out to everybody. The novel is really amazing. I read it, really enjoyed it. I highlighted it all over the place. The prose really is something really amazing. So it was cool to talk to him. I didn't know him at all. I mean, I knew we have like a lot of mutual friends from comedy. And so it wasn't that weird when I messaged him on Instagram, but he was a stranger. And so we got to know each other over the course of the interview, but we have a lot of friends in common. We have comedy in common, and we have literature in common. So this is a literary conversation. Sam is really eloquent and funny about his writing and his process and his sort of influences. We talk a lot of books. We talk a lot of comedy. We talk some shit. It's really fun. It was only supposed to be like an hour, but I ended up just talking to him for like an hour and 45 minutes or something. So enjoy. And again, I genuinely recommend the book. I did do an intro for this podcast in Fort Collins before I interviewed Sam. I'm going to include it because it's kind of interesting because I talk about what I'm going through at the exact time and what I want to ask Sam about. So I'm going to include that after this. So here it is. Take it away, Terrence from the past. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Down by the River. My name is Terrence Hartnett. I'm your host. I live in a van. I woke up in a truck stop in central Nebraska today, and I drove from there to Fort Collins, Colorado. That's where I'm here now. It's snowing. There's snow on the ground, and it's the foothills of the Colorado mountains. It's really pretty. Eastern Colorado can be really boring. It's very Nebraskan, yellow and corny and flat. Yellow, flat, and corny. And today I'm interviewing Sam Tallent. Sam Tallent is a comedian and an author. I first heard about Sam when I was living in Chicago. He would be touring all over the place, like just killing, kind of like a local legend in the Denver comedy scene. Sam just wrote a novel, his debut novel. It's called Running the Light, and it really blew me away. It was really incredibly well written, incredibly interesting story. And I wanted to ask him about his process and about his experience with it and about how his experience with comedy and how it came into the book and how he wrote the book. But until now, I have been mostly stuck in Indiana. I've spent a lot of time in Valparaiso, Indiana, which is a suburb of Chicago, I guess. It's near Chicago. It's an hour and 20 minutes from Chicago. And it's a little college town. And that's where I happened to get my transmission fixed for the first time in August. and then for the second time in September, and for the third time in October. So I had to keep coming back to Valparaiso, Indiana. I tried to getting away, and they brought me right back. I actually made it about as far as I made last night. I was in New Hampshire. Not New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the words that are on a trailer that's right next to me. That's why I said New Hampshire. So the story is I was in Nebraska, and my transmission broke down for the third time, and it wouldn't budge, and I paid a guy $65 to tell me that it wouldn't budge, and then I had to figure out how I was going to get anywhere. I was supposed to go to Denver, and I was supposed to go to the Grand Canyon after that, so I decided to ship my car back to Valparaiso, Indiana, which is the only place I could get it fixed for free. It's under warranty. I had to get it fixed there. I got it shipped. I had to pay a man to pick up my car in Grand Island, Nebraska, and ship it back to Valparaiso. I took a bus to Denver, stayed in Denver for a few days, got a flight to Chicago for $18 on Spirit. I took an $18 flight, probably a record low for me for my entire life, I hope. If I'm spending less than $18 on a flight, someone should be notified. And from there, I spent 2 weeks in Chicago and in Valparaiso seeing friends and waiting in a hotel room. And a hotel room is what I bought this van to avoid. So I really had to face some irony in Valparaiso. I've been humbled, but my journey has begun in earnest. This is maybe day 2 of legitimate living in a van podcast adventure. So I'm excited to talk to Sam Tallent. I'm excited to see what he thinks about Fort Collins. Fort Collins is about an hour north of Denver. Why is he living here? All that jazz. Okay, so enjoy the show. Take it away, Steve.
Down, down, down by the river.
I like sports gambling a lot, especially football. And last weekend was my sister's birthday, and I sold the audio rights to the book.
My man.
So it was very exciting.
Congrats.
But also, I fucking lost way too much money last weekend.
Okay.
Not like a crippling amount, but more than I've ever lost before because I was in such high spirits and I had this check coming in, and I lost $400 on the Indiana Penn State game.
Oh my god.
Indiana had not beat a ranked opponent in 25 years. And last week they beat a ranked opponent.
And you hate to have to lose on it's their best night of their life. You hit your bet against the underdog.
Very exciting game. Great 2-point conversion for the win. Guy diving across the goal line. Excellent game. But meanwhile, I got my brother-in-law who just proposed to my sister that day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it was beautiful.
So you have all this joy happening in your life.
And I was like, no, it's the lock, dude. It was anyway. So yeah.
That's why I don't gravitate to sports, is because sports to me was always a reason my dad was upset and I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
It's just why, Dad? We're all here having a great time. And he's like, God, fucking damn it.
And also being furious at the Indiana Hoosiers is such an asinine place to be in your life.
For achieving their dream. For a story that will be told for generations.
For sure. Beating number 8 Penn State in the first weekend of Big Ten football.
But they had
meanwhile, I was in the hot tub at halftime. Mel, we got it. We're fucking smoking weed and partying. And then we got back in there and it was oh, what the fuck happened here?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's, it makes you feel alive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people. Oh my God, I was just juuling. I bought a Juul yesterday.
Oh, nice, man.
It's not. I mean, it's whatever it is, I guess. Right.
Are you a cigarette guy?
I was just stuck in Indiana for 21 days.
Oh God.
And they're just giving them away there. They're just they're like, you can have cigarettes just because you're here, and then you can smoke them inside. Although I didn't go inside any bars, but when I did, I would smoke a cigarette in there.
Yeah.
Just for the thrill of being inside. It's so.
You look like you've never had a carb or a cigarette. It seems impossible to me that you poisoned your.
Thank you very much.
Temple in any way.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Juuls suck, man. This is a CBD Juul.
Whoa.
No
nicotine?
No nicotine because I'm off cigarettes.
I've seen ads for that. I wonder why. Because I buy fucking Juul products. But why? What's the CBD is okay? I guess does something for you.
I think it's the O'Douls.
Of course.
I really want to be smoking cigarettes all the time, but apparently they're bad for you or
they're
whatever.
Bad. They're
yeah.
bad.
So this CBD is like a stopgap.
A flame on one end and a fool on the other. That's what Kervonian says about cigarettes.
Wow, yeah. He was in Ithaca for a while.
Yes,
And I would go up above that bookstore that he would write above, and like they said that you could only light matches if you were going to smoke a Pall Mall. And I was like, well, that's bullshit. But then me and my buddy Clay went up there, and we had like Marlboros, Pall Malls, and Camels. And for some reason, the only cigarette we could get lit was a Pall Mall, dude.
That's interesting.
It's
Okay.
Very kind of
The
ooky
spirit.
spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was teaching. He taught at a couple colleges. He taught at Iowa. But he's kind of like washed up. Not. I mean, like it wasn't a great time in his life when he was teaching at these colleges. Obviously.
I don't think it ever is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're teaching, right? If you're a writer
Right.
who's teaching.
Like when Barry Hannah was teaching at Old Miss, it was like the depths of his depression because Larry Brown was there, and everyone was like, Larry Brown's like the next tough guy, like literature dude. And Barry Hannah's like, well, I had airships like 15 years ago. Like, what about me? And they're like, shut up, man. Larry Brown's getting drunk at the post office.
You're washed up. That's why
Yeah.
you're here. That's what sucks. Is like, yeah, things aren't going great. Would you ever teach writing?
I'm enamored with the idea of teaching writing.
All right.
I really would love the opportunity to go teach at a small liberal arts like Wesleyan would be like a dream come true.
Wow,
You
okay.
know? Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I would assume that you would reject the structure of it. I don't know why. I don't know you very well, but just as a comedian, and because you've been doing independent comedy on your own terms for like over 10 years, right?
Yeah,
just
about
doing your own
13
shit.
years. But like, I really want the respect of the MFA crowd. I desperately want the literati to be
Yeah.
like, this guy's one of us. Like
Yeah.
that was the big issue with self-publishing, is that the New York Times won't review your book. The
Right.
Denver Post wouldn't do a review. They did an artist interview, like an author interview, which was great.
But they wouldn't review
But they
it.
won't review it because there's such negative connotations with self-published shit. Because most self-published books are just vanity
It's bad.
projects and
Yeah,
bullshit.
but it's gone well so far.
Yeah, it has. I'm very grateful for the way it worked out, but you know, like I really want to go like lecture at the Tin House Press in Reed College in Portland, you know, like I'd love to go. I'd love to be asked to speak at the Iowa Writers Workshop.
As soon as you got that respect, though, you would be shitting on them, don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, right.
I'm a comedian
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Of course I would hit them with sarcasm and you know, thinly veiled meanness hidden behind a veneer of humor. But
You'd be contemptuous immediately. You'd
Yeah.
instantly hold them in contempt.
like my wife's a doctor, and I like the idea of her doing. They're called locums, where you can go be a doctor in these like small underserved communities, and you can be there for a weekend, you can be there for a week, a month, 6 months, or whatever. You take contracts, and like the idea of going to Dartmouth in like very small town New Hampshire, and like
Ooh.
me teaching at Dartmouth for a semester, and like her being the small town doctor.
Absolutely.
It's like hyper romantic. And also, I blew it by not going to Dartmouth or Brown.
Right. Well, and you said you dropped out of college. You're saying that.
I dropped out
earlier.
of college.
Which
but
college?
I went to Metro State College of Denver.
Okay.
The home of the Roadrunners. It's the ultimate commuter school right there in the heart of downtown. But like, I could have played football at Dartmouth. Like, they sent me a letter, and I had really
Damn.
good scores, and I was like an all-state athlete and like a thespian, and I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to Dartmouth, dude. I'm going to go to Denver and like
You could have
live in a squad house.
You love that. You could have gone to an Ivy League school. And, yeah.
So
you,
they don't offer like scholarships at
Okay,
Ivy League
right.
schools for
you would have to
sports.
finance your own Ivy League education.
Well,
Yeah.
something would have happened. They have some way. They don't do scholarships, but they have like, I don't know. I didn't look into it at all.
Yeah.
I like got the letter and was like, I'm the best. Fuck this. Because
That's the thing is once you get the adulation, it's like, do I even need to get the degree now?
Yeah, dude.
They wanted me.
It's like the thing like when I was writing my book where you tell people that you're writing a book and then you don't work on it for a week.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
you
you
got
get the jolt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you got that
baby.
itch scratched, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
So like just having them send like the thinnest envelope to me about maybe considering coming to Dartmouth, I was like, fuck. But going to Brown and living in Providence when you're 18?
Sure.
Fuck, dude.
Man.
I don't have a lot of regrets, but I was at Harvard over Christmas last year, eating at a diner like by Harvard, and there was all these like young, non-binary, beautiful people just like holding hands and like eating spaghetti at like 2 a.m. and I got fucking misty-eyed, and I went back to the
Yeah.
hotel room alone and like wrote a poem that no one has ever known about, but just like that, all that possibility that was in that room, dude. It was very crushing.
Because they are going to go on to do incredible things. Just
Yeah,
because they're gentlemen of Harvard
yeah, exactly. They'll be all
and
you
ladies
know,
of Harvard.
They'll be in Vulture's comic to watch list next year.
They'll do one Instagram video and be on it.
Yeah, they'll have
exactly.
a Netflix special because they're fucking
And we love
lip-syncing
that.
Joe Biden.
And we love that for them. And that's so great. Do you write poetry in any serious way?
Yeah, I mean, I have like, I've written like 40 poems. I wanted to do a book of poetry where it was a poem about every state or written in every state.
Cool.
Like actually written in the confines of that state.
Yeah.
But I can't put that out because my friends would rip me to fucking hell. If I put out a book of poetry, dude, fuck. Putting out a novel was grandiose enough, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, but poetry is close to comedy, but it's so much more vulnerable. And there's no like response, obviously, and there's no like crushing it. There's no result.
Payoff.
No,
there's no snap harder.
Oh my god, they don't even clap.
No, dude.
They don't even clap. I was at a bookstore and I didn't bring your book on the road with me. I don't know why I didn't. So I ended up having to get the ebook and to look it over before I talked to you. And I was just gonna buy it at a bookstore, but none of the bookstores in Fort Collins have your book. The Barnes Noble wants to talk to you about getting it into the local authors section.
The one in Loveland, or the one here in Fort Collins?
Fort Collins.
Yeah, they've been nice. A couple people work at the different Barnes and Nobles across the country, but getting through that bureaucracy of getting into the system at Barnes and Noble to make like $1.80 per book, like it's very flattering. But my book's available in like 7 bookstores, but they're on 3 different continents. So like that's
fucking
cool.
Crazy.
Yeah,
What's the other continents?
Australia and then the UK.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get one into this place in Estonia because Estonia loves me.
They do?
I did the #1 podcast in Estonia because, of course, Stanhope's huge in Estonia and like Latvia.
I didn't know he was big. Yeah, okay.
Brother, me either. All right, it was all news to me, and yeah, fuck. So this guy in Estonia hit me up and he's like, "Hi, I do an English language podcast here, and like it's very big." And I did it. Then I had like 400, 500 Estonian, Latvian, Bulgarian like followers on Instagram.
My God.
Yeah, and
are they buying books? Because you're shipping the books yourself.
Yeah.
So you're putting the labels on.
I do, but in those like ex-Soviet republics, like Amazon's not big. Besides Estonia,
good though, like, right?
Well, so it's like I have to ship over there,
Yeah.
but I feel bad because they get charged $65 American through my website to ship it. You know?
Okay.
Because the
Wow.
shipping is so expensive the further you go. You know.
Wow. It has to be airdropped over the Berlin Wall.
Exactly, dude.
Like
yeah, it's got to be smuggled in.
Yeah.
It's like a game of oh fuck, not Risk? What's the other? Stratego. Remember Stratego?
No, I don't.
Oh my god, what a great game! I love Stratego. That was all of my enhanced. Like that was my, what is it called when you're like a smart kid and they put
Prodigy?
you in those, yeah. Well, when you're in the classes or whatever.
Yeah.
I was a gifted youth.
Gifted,
and that was just an
talented,
excuse for me to play Stratego every day with other like kids who
that
had
was
lisps.
your gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Stratego.
Yeah, dude.
What's up with the shrimp? Are you doing a shrimp farm?
So we went and toured a shrimp facility, me and my brother-in-law and our scientist, who's like one of my oldest friends.
You're a scientist?
So yeah, my buddy Ryan Janskock is he goes to School of Mines, which is like top 5 countries in the or colleges in the world, especially for like petroleum engineering. But he's a genius, and he was like, we could do the shrimp thing, and I had a little bit of money from the book or whatever, so I was like, let's open a shrimp farm. And then we went to Montana and toured a shrimp facility.
Yeah.
It's not the cash cow we thought it was.
Okay,
it's
I think
not as
on the
lucrative.
podcast, I listened to the podcast, and in one episode, you kind of convinced even me. You're like to like get in the shrimp business, like because the Gulf is
poisoned
by Exxon.
Yeah, I think so.
BP. No, BP.
BP was there.
Well, they've both done it in the Gulf.
It's all the same oil.
They've
man.
all.
Yeah, it's all the same war that we got it from.
Earth blood.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, I don't know. I was like, cool, because it was right when the quarantine hit, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Stand
what
up,
the fuck am
around?
I gonna do?
So it was like shrimp, and I was convinced. And then we went up and toured this guy's like giant shrimp facility in Montana, and he was like, you guys want some shrimp? He like gave us like 6 pounds of shrimp. He's like, I can't sell them.
Oh,
like
fuck.
I've optimized this thing. He was a completely self-made man, like autodidact, but he couldn't figure out how to move the shrimp.
You can't move
His whole
them.
plan was people driving from Spokane and Boise to his like plot of very rural land in Montana to buy the shrimp out of the back of his truck.
Okay, well, this guy's not your guy.
No, but also if you want to sell shrimp, you have to have the USDA approval.
Okay.
Unless you sell them live.
Okay.
So there's like a whole. We were trying. I don't know. We pivoted into
red tape
into mushrooms. We're
it's
doing
psychedelic mushrooms.
No, gourmet mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, like Morel and.
So those are the ones that grow
Lion's Mane.
wild, right?
No,
That you can farm them.
So you can't grow truffles in a laboratory.
Okay.
You have to have a pig to hunt for truffles or like dogs, but you can grow, red oyster, blue button, just all your very gourmet mushrooms. You can grow those in a laboratory.
And then in the back, I mean, while you have all the stuff, it's in the back.
We would never do that.
We would never do that. That would be
yeah.
so stupid.
Well, they're decriminalized in Denver.
In the city of Denver.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they're not decriminalized statewide.
Or in Fort Collins.
Or in
where
Fort
we are.
Collins. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but let's say that they do become decriminalized statewide. Being able to pivot into that space immediately is like,
But
really-
not legal. So you can't buy them in a dispensary, but it's cool if you get caught with them so people are more chill about it. You definitely wouldn't be decriminalized to grow them and sell them in mass quantities.
No, not in the least. No, completely correct. But like, if you want to pay $50 for a T-shirt, you can buy the
Exactly.
T-shirt. But as
Whoops.
a free gift, you get a quarter ounce of mushrooms
I
too.
dropped. Whoops. There's
Yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
Wink, wink.
Exactly.
I bought Nate the mushrooms, and all I got was a stupid T-shirt.
Bingo. Yeah, I want to call it Goombas and Hongos, or Goombas Hongos, because Hongos is like Spanish for mushroom.
Okay.
Which is the funniest fucking word ever.
Hongos.
Hongo, dude. It rules.
Is it ongo? Is it? They don't do the H, right? Hongo, or is it with a J?
What
Hongo?
about no? It's HOMBO.
Okay.
Yeah, or HONGO.
Hongo. Ongo.
Yeah,
Hongo.
I don't know. I say hongo, like the honky I am.
We're just two honkies talking about hongos.
Yeah. Well, I'm
that's-
actually Lachuino. I'm a quarter Mexican.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very secret.
It's fine. I'm not going to say it's better or worse than any other race. I
Nice,
think it's
man.
exactly fine.
It's good.
I acknowledge your race.
Thank you,
That's
man.
all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say about that.
I would have got JFL a lot earlier if I would have gone by Tallent.
Ay, ay, ay. Samuel Tallente.
That's right.
CCC. That's what maybe someone would say. Not
you.
Not me, or I'm not doing a racial voice. That's just
Right.
the voice that I chose to do.
But my uncle might say that,
Yes.
on his daughter's 15th birthday.
That's the last loophole we have is, my uncle would tell this joke.
Yeah. Yeah, Patricio Fernandez and his daughter Alida,
Tutillo?
they'll do that. Yeah,
Tutillo?
see.
CC. Ay, ay, ay.
Fuerte.
Fuerte.
Very strong uncle I have.
So we are in Fort Collins,
In my living room.
in your living room, and I'm curious as to when you moved to Fort Collins, and from Denver, obviously you moved to Fort Collins.
Yeah, correct. We moved here June 1st, and my wife started her residency July 1st.
So in pandemic. Wait,
yeah.
is that right? Okay.
Correct, yeah.
And it's because of her residency.
Yeah, so she graduated from med school in May, and she did the whole match process, which is very archaic and strange and like fucking, it's a nightmare.
It's wild. You have to choose. I dated a girl who was in med school.
Yeah.
I got out. I cashed out before it paid off.
Okay, yeah.
But I did. date
You
a
had
girl
that
in
live
med
bet
school.
parlay and you cashed out before it hit. God, you
can't
needed
cover it.
Indiana.
Yeah. She's Indiana because she got out before I bought a van and
Okay.
traveled across the country. But
Yeah.
I got out before she.
Which is incredible. I mean, I'm very jealous of what you're up to
I bet
based on your
you
Instagram.
are. I bet
Yeah,
you are.
for
Yeah,
sure.
because this is something that would be very up your alley. Yeah.
Well, it was my life. For,
Exactly, right.
Forever.
You'd be sleeping in cars. You'd be.
Sleeping under cars. That was a big move. When my band was on the road, we'd sleep underneath the van because it was too hot in the van.
So you'd sleep underneath the van? Wouldn't it be better to sleep out? Because it would shelter you, sort of.
Yeah,
Is
like
that the-
we could do tents, but tents, if you bought a tent, you couldn't buy like cigarettes and speed.
Of course.
So we would sleep
I
underneath
don't
the
got
van.
tent money.
Or also it'd be like, look, dude, I fucking love you, but I don't want to hear you breathe. So
Yeah.
you have the van tonight, and I'll go underneath the van. It was elevated enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm very grateful for my wife, but
Yeah.
it's always grass is greener.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. I
Before
just
I was
showered with baby wipes.
domesticated.
Yeah. So
Oh, you did?
I did.
Do you
Before
want to
I
take a
came here.
shower here?
No, thank
You're
you.
more
I'm,
than welcome.
I'm gonna staying with a friend in Denver tonight, so I
Okay.
really appreciate that. But I
Yeah.
will be able to shower there.
Okay.
But
But yeah, we moved up here during pandemic, and she matched into Fort Collins, which was her third preferred program, my second preferred program, so it worked out.
wait, you don't have any actual say, right?
Well, my wife and I, like, she's a great woman. We compromised. Her number one choice was the Mayo Clinic in Eau Claire, Wisconsin,
Whoa.
and that was my.
I know Claire has got some comedy,
It
right?
does. It has the Clearwater Comedy.
Yeah.
They have one show a week. God bless them. One of the best shows in the country. I recorded one of my nights of my special there. I
I've
love
heard,
those
yeah.
guys.
Wait, do you record a special? Side note?
I did, yeah, right before.
Where? Okay, so it's not out yet?
No, it's still in the process of being edited
Okay.
somehow.
Someone's
Somehow
editing
it's not done yet. I don't know
it.
what happened.
What do you don't have the time? I'm sorry, editor. You don't have any.
Yeah, I'm sorry you have to do so many
What's
door
going on?
dashes.
Yeah.
Sorry Grubhub is so lucrative instead of the $40K you got paid. I don't know. Maybe Maybe get to work on that.
$40K?
Yeah, to edit because it was we did 13 shows, so it was like a very massive undertaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is someone paying
Yeah,
for
Big
that?
Top Studios.
Okay,
My buddy Jim
congratulations.
Hickox, who I've known forever, but he put up 100K after JFL.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
that's
I'm very
great.
proud of it. I just like want it to be done before there's competition.
What before? Wait. Oh, before. Oh, right. You
Because
can get
no
it
one's
out.
doing anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude.
Like this is the best time because the last show we did was March 17th.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and then
Would you be
America
able
shut
to
down.
sell it to? Is it going out on Big Top, or would you be able to sell it to somebody?
So Big Top's the production company,
Okay.
and then they'll fence it for us.
Ooh.
So like once it's done, they'll sell it to like Comedy Dynamics or one of those big clearinghouses.
That could be great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it's like it's a buyer's or seller's market, right? now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got like the last. It's like they're not making any more comedy. It's like
I've
they're not making
never
any more
been
land.
in a better position.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chips are all on your. I was gonna ask you too because I was like, you put out a novel before you put out like there's not even an album on Spotify or anything.
I'm in a live act, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to sound arty or whatever, but like, I've never found the appeal of putting anything out unless people are in the room.
Okay.
I always liked the idea of me being like Grateful Dead, where people would make bootlegs like of like Fish or Oysterhead. Like people would make bootlegs of my shit, and they'd be like, "I got the Cincinnati show," and then they like put that online.
They go, did he do that fucking riff about this? And oh yeah,
Exactly.
he did. And he went long on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like putting out my shit when you can't see the funny faces I'm making, like a special makes
Right.
sense, but
Yeah.
I wanted to do the special the way I always wanted to do it, which is my 13 favorite shows in the country. And Jim was like, "Do whatever you want." Jim's rich as hell.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's like he's generationally wealthy and generous and smart. He did Billy Wayne Davis's special.
Cool. That's the kind of person you want to be friends with, is someone who's generationally wealthy but cool.
And also
And
a
they feel
gifted
guilty.
comedian in his own right.
Really?
I mean,
Nice.
he's been nominated for an Andy Kaufman special award twice, I think.
Great. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then he moved to LA and pivoted into the production space.
Good.
I keep saying pivot. I'm sorry. I'm rereading All the Pretty Horses, and my vernacular is.
I loved All the Pretty Horses.
Oh, it's not my favorite Cormac book, but it's the one that I'll reread over and over again.
It's gentler than most McCarthy.
Yeah, and it's a love story about
man.
boys, young men
Yes.
falling in love, and the strength of that friendship you have, and how it can carry you across borders and into prison and
In
shit.
the Mexican prison.
Yeah, excellent book.
What's your favorite McCarthy?
Blood Meridian, I think, is the
Yeah.
best book ever written in the English language.
Wow.
Well, I mean, what's a better book?
Well, I think not. I wouldn't bring a book up at this point. I don't think. Yeah.
I mean, people could say Moby Dick, but
that's so funny.
the language is so archaic, it's hard to read.
That's so funny because I was trying to explain to somebody like what like your deal is, like as I'm interviewing you, and I was like, he's a comedian, very well regarded comedian. Like I heard about you in Chicago, and you came through Chicago and all that stuff, and then you have this riffy ribbled podcast, Chubby Behemoth.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to that a little bit, and I was like, imagine like one of the Cumtown guys wrote Blood Meridian. How would you feel?
Oh man, that's
That's the book I picked.
That's very, very kind.
Isn't that funny? But
yeah.
like, it's
hopefully Mullen. Yeah, don't make me stop. Just cackling.
Imagine Nick Mullen.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. They do bring different energies. Yeah, they definitely bring different energies
Mullen's
to
a
that.
genius.
He's
Straight
wild.
up a genius.
And when he goes off, yeah, you can see it when you see his brain working. I went to the live show and everyone loved just him and Staff riffing up top, and then they could take or leave the comedy that followed, the rehearsed bits that followed, but seeing them think up that shit and riff in real time was amazing.
And I'm not one of those guys that like says genius about everyone,
But Nick Mullen.
But Nick Mullen's like literally a genius.
That's great.
I mean, if you listen to Cumtown, the ability for him to be so anti-intellectual while also being notably smart and like have such a sweeping knowledge base, dude. Like, it's amazing how dumb he can come off. Like, there's a genius in that,
Yeah, and he puts their finger on. He's like, this is this kind of guy who like, and he'll name 4 details, and you're like, oh my god, that's that guy. Like, he's able to pull shit.
I love in Cumtown how afraid they are to like know the name of something. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, like I had a dollar bill the other day. Who was on the dollar bill? Like George. George Wagner. And it's like, dude, Friedland, just say the name of the director, dude.
Oh, they just want to be. Yeah,
they don't
just
want anyone to know they're
dumb.
smart.
Exactly.
But Nick like grew up online. He's
Yeah.
the most online person
Yeah.
in the world. This isn't a. We're not breaking down Cumtown on this.
Let's
pod,
not.
but yeah.
Let's move on
Yeah.
to your disgusting riffy podcast.
But no, thank you about. Yeah, no, I do. I love literature. I love reading.
Yeah.
And I've always loved reading.
yeah.
But
And you put the veneer of dumb comedian guy over that love of reading.
yeah, for sure.
It seems to be.
I don't
to
want
get-
anyone to think I'm smart.
to get by. Yeah, to get by in this world.
Well,
yeah.
it's just if people think you're smart, then they expect a lot of you,
yeah.
and they like. I'd much rather be underestimated than overestimated.
And then
know?
and then you rise to the occasion, and you can pleasantly surprise somebody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With a Cormac McCarthy reference or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, the book is out, and I don't know, because as a guy who you're putting a special out, but you put a novel out first, essentially. That's what you put out before you put out your special. So now you're a novelist / comedian. And I think it's interesting to ask you this because I know Billy Ray Schaefer, the main character in your novel, Running the Light, which is available at samtalent.com.
Yeah, unless you live abroad, just go to Amazon.
Unless you live in Estonia.
Save yourself $45. I don't hate you for it.
That's very nice. But if you're in the United States, don't buy it from Amazon. Just buy it from Sam Talent. who will
$5 more
sign it,
dollars.
and you'll sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that means a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means $7 extra in my pocket. That's what it means.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
But the main character, Billy Ray Schaefer, he's obsessed with being a comedian, and with his identity is wrapped up in him doing comedy.
That's all he has left.
You're right. It
Yeah.
keeps coming up like that. I can crush. Like it's like everything else falls apart, and it's all he has. So, as a person who wrote a book and does stand up, how do you identify yourself? How do you face that identity question?
I don't know, man. I was defined by being a comedian my entire adult life, and I'm so self-aware about trying to sound like I don't know. I can hear like Chris Higgins and listening to this and being like, you know. But
I love Chris Higgins. I just saw him last week.
I adore Chris and Alex Dragon, fucking
Alex Dragovich, my God,
I love him, man.
the Serbian sensation.
I love that they have that tweet in their house framed of that
Oh, yeah.
sports writer being like, I can't remember who he's playing
He's
against.
dissing some guy,
Yeah.
and he goes, "I've seen that guy get crossed up by Alex Dragovich."
Yeah,
But he's
dude.
like the.
Yeah, so that rules.
He had his best game at Notre Dame. He had his best game against Syracuse University, where I'm from. It devastated our whole family. We were number one.
Really?
We were number one, and Drago goes in and has off the bench, sixth man, has the game of his life. He sinks like 7 threes. It's like the peak of his career. So my brother comes to see me at a show, and Drago's in the show, and he's just like, "How do I know that guy?" And I go, "Oh, that's Alex Dragovich." And then he goes over. And he's talking to him, and they have like a 30-minute conversation, but like most of it's like aggression. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you think you were doing? You weren't even on the scouting report, dude.
Right.
You weren't even starting five. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't even know who you were. And we were number one, and in the dome at home in
Yeah.
Syracuse, and he came and he won the game for Notre Dame.
That is the best.
Isn't that funny? And now I
love
do
that.
comedy with that guy, and we talk bits. It's so funny. Now, now that's a guy who he started at my open mic. He started doing comedy in Chicago at my open
And it was the same situation with him. I was sleeping in Higgins' bed. He wasn't there, but he like hid the key. And I was in the living room, and Alex came out and was like, "Hey, who are you?" I was like, "I'm Sam. I'm in Higgins' room." And he's like, "Oh, hey, man." Then we just like sat down. Very nice guy.
Very nice guy.
But I think that the best thing I should define myself as is like a husband or a son. You know what I mean?
Is your wife here? Is that why you're
My
saying
wife's
stuff
not
like that?
here. My wife's at work.
You're
She's doing
such a
another
sweetheart.
fucking 15-hour shift or
You're
whatever.
so sweet.
But that's like really what matters at the end of the day.
Of course it is.
You know? Like, I don't know, dude. Forever it was like I need to be a comedian and I need to fucking kill
Yeah.
every night. And like, it's very unhealthy, that pressure that you put on yourself. But like, I don't know, dude. If I had to choose one, I think I've already... I think people know I'm a good comic already.
Yeah.
And I'm like respected in most circles. I really would love to go down as like one of the best novelists.
So if it was like gun to your head, you had to pick one or the other right now. You did Sophie's Choice, these two careers.
And I never would have thought that until during quarantine where I'm not doing stand up.
Yeah.
I've done like very few gigs, but like I didn't think I could ever do that. And then we got put on hold, and I don't know. If if I had to choose one or the other, I think I'd much rather live like long-term survival. Being an author is much better than being a nightclub comic.
Right.
I don't know. It's a really impossible question because if I couldn't do stand-up again, I'd lose my mind. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. So you wouldn't. Yeah. Okay. So you wouldn't.
I never want to quit stand-up.
There you go.
Ever. I always want to be a comedian. But like writing is, I don't know. People reading my book and saying that they loved it, or it was like the first book they've ever read, or, you know, I got a lot of that, dude. I got so much of that. Yeah. Or you know what's fun is people.
I've never read a book before. These are pretty good. I like these things.
Yeah, they're like, this is the best book I've ever read. And the only other book I read was like Don Rickles' biography.
I read Hatchet in middle school. And then,
exactly. Gary Paulson, man. Nice. That book rules. But it's funny when people like haven't read a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I love your book,
they're your
man.
friend or they know you from comedy and they go, I got to support that. I should read this. It's about
Yeah,
comedy.
and I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a literary masterpiece.
Yes, but
which it is.
what it is.
Yeah, it's like
No, I didn't butter your bread yet, but I want to tell you, like I picked it up. Like I was like, I know Sam Tallent's a great storyteller. I saw you perform a few times I saw you perform and anyway, and I was like, it'll be good stories about stand up. It'll be an interesting, compelling narrative about the thing that I love, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to be into it no matter what. I was picturing the language being more kind of sparse and Cormac McCarthy and kind of like the like these Heming. I don't know. I was like, he's probably like a Hemingway kind of guy, like
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was blown away by the language on the sentence and paragraph level. Like it's beautifully written prose, and that really surprised me. And I just and it kept drawing me in. I mean, I would have read the whole thing because I love comedy, and this is like a thing that's happening in comedy right now. Is people are reading your book and comparing it. Like Stanhope is obsessed with it.
Yeah.
You might be on fucking WTF with Mark Maron. Who knows? He just got it.
Man. Yeah, he just tweeted
That would be
about
great.
it.
That would be great. But I mean, I thought it was gonna be good stand-up stories, and that would be enough. But like the prose is like fucking up there with the heavy hitters, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put it out unless it was like, as good as I hope that it is.
Good. Well, yeah. You did it, and you wrote it in 18 months.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I was in Vegas when I wrote it.
Okay.
And it might have even because I wrote like around 100,000 words of a different thing. And then
100,000 words of a different thing.
So I wrote like one thing, and there was probably like 50,000 words, and then that kind of like ended up turning into this different things. And then I was writing short stories too, so I probably pumped out like 130, 150,000 words of just different long form fiction. And then the first chapter of Running the Light was just a segment of the third thing I was working on.
Okay.
And then I was like, damn, I can write this guy a lot easier.
So he was going to be like, what, one guy of many characters?
So I was like writing this like thing about like this kind of disillusioned, like it was very heavy Jesus son type shit.
Okay.
And his dad was a road dog. Dennis Johnson. Who also I've heard.
And you've mentioned him in every interview you've done about the book.
He's the most important author to me. I got his first book, Angels, framed over there because it's like it's a work of art,
But it's not the best book written in English.
I think it's my favorite book.
Okay.
But Blood Meridian's the best book. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I think Blood Meridian it's as good as a book can be.
Okay.
Whereas Angels is the thing that me as an author and a reader, I was like, fuck. This is it. Like, that was Bob Dylan to me, to fucking quote the Minutemen. So yeah, what the fuck was I talking about? I'm sorry.
You were writing it. Oh, yeah, the process of the book.
Oh yeah.
This
kid, his dad was Billy Ray Schaefer. So
gotcha.
So I was like writing that first chapter about this other guy's dad was Billy Ray. It was supposed to be Jeremiah, and then it just ended up becoming Running the Light.
So the main character of the other book was Jeremiah?
Yeah, who's the son of Billy Ray Schaefer.
And we got very little Jeremiah in the book.
Yeah, we got one night with Jeremiah, and then you don't get a night with the other son at all.
Right, because he doesn't like Billy Ray very much.
No, of course not. Rightfully so. He's a real piece of work, this guy. But yeah, I think it might have been less than 18 months is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I heard, I'm pulling a quote from some podcast.
No, I've said that a lot. And then my wife the other day was like, it wasn't 18 months. You wrote that thing in like my second year of med school. Because I remember I told her, I was like, I think I figured out what I'm doing. And then I finished it. And I told her I had like a big Emmy, we're fucking going to Buffalo Wild Wings. I finished the book, And so probably it might have been a year, dude. And also I was on the road. But also the way I wrote that book, And the way I write everything is in front of the computer for 8 hours a day.
You don't leave the computer for 8 hours?
So I'll write for like 4 hours. I'll walk Gordy. That's the big part of the day for me. Walk the dog, make coffee, read a little bit, finish up any like housekeeping shit I have to do. And then I would write from like 2 to 6, and Emily would get home at 6, have dinner, chill with her until she's done, and then probably around 10 to 2 every night I was writing.
2 to 6, then 10 to 2?
Because my brain's better at night because of stand-up.
Right.
I've like trained my brain
Yeah.
to be the best in its peak form, like around the hours of like 7 o'clock.
So after the show then? Or what? We'd be doing a mic or a show?
I mean, it was Vegas, man. So I did very little shows in
So
town.
yeah, okay, that's all, because this podcast is kind of about geographic locations just by nature
Yeah.
of the way I'm doing it. So you're in Fort Collins now because of your wife, and you were in Las Vegas because of your wife as well?
Yeah, her first 2 years of med school were in Vegas. And then she transferred back home. My mom had a stroke on election day after Trump was elected.
On the day?
Right after they announced
Fuck.
Trump.
Jesus.
Yeah, after they said Trump won, she dropped.
Was it related, or are you just saying that for community?
No, it was 100% related.
Wow.
My mom's like, we were like very much a matriarchy. My dad was a goofball. He could have been a comic if you could have been a comic back then. My mom, God bless her, she kept the family like afloat. And then she was all in for Hillary, like campaigned for Hillary, like very like party line Democrat type shit. And then Trump was announced, and she just like her brain broke and she dropped.
my God.
And then, so that night she drops. The next day I'm flying to Denver to film Roast Battle, the episode of Roast Battle I did in town. My dad calls me super early, and he's like, hey, you coming to town still? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on TV for the first time ever. Like, I think I'm going to make it, Dad. And he's like, all right, cool. Your mom had a stroke, so just come to the hospital.
How humbling and like reminding you of what's actually important, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. Family first, you know. But, yeah, so I lived in Vegas for those 2 years, and then we came home.
So, but you were traveling a lot from Vegas, and what I'm sure you were doing your
Yeah.
touring. It was normal times.
Yeah, for
Pre-corona.
sure. I was gone like, 40, 45 weekends a year during that time.
That's good. Well, you can see, yeah, you're still working.
Yeah, I was working a bunch in Vegas because I couldn't get up in town, so I worked even more.
You couldn't get up in town?
I mean, I could get up in town, but Vegas sucks, dude.
Okay.
Like, there's good comics there. Like, I don't want to shit on Jocelyn Sharp and like Gooch and Markman and the kids doing stuff at the dive bar, but as far as like doing comedy, like I headlined on the Strip. I came in and I got a headline on the Strip at Planet Hollywood,
Okay.
and I was like the first
What?
guy.
What Planet Hollywood, the restaurant?
Planet Hollywood, the casino.
Okay.
On the Strip. They had comedy and dolls. It was like a cabaret show. So I would host. It was fucked, dude. And it was like my gig for a minute, you know?
What, every week you'd host a comedy and
Every
dolls? Every night?
Yeah, it was like Monday through the whole week.
It's the Showbiz City.
And then, like, if you're going to comedy and dolls, you're not going to see Carrot Top or George Wallace.
Yeah.
Like, you got given tickets to go see a comedy show, Big C comedy.
Yeah.
And if you're coming,
And the dolls are women? Sorry,
the
what is-
dolls were women.
Okay,
Yeah.
cabaret?
So they had Tana the tattooed lady, who was really cool, who would come out and like do a burlesque thing.
Sure.
She was covered head to toe in tattoos. Very nice woman. And then they had this lady who could shoot a bow and arrow with her feet, who was also scantily clad. So I would come out, do 10, bring on a couple comics, bring on Tana, and then later on come out in due time and then bring on the bow and arrow lady, whose name I never got because she didn't like want to talk to me. God bless her. So I came in like dick swinging. People were stoked. You know, a lot of comics said like it's like we got the lottery pick in the draft. Like it feels
Nice.
like because I didn't know where I was going for
Yeah.
med school, and a lot of comics were like super stoked I was in Vegas, and I like got there, and it's just those crowds don't want to see creative comedy.
Yeah, man.
They don't want to see like comics taking a chance. They
Yeah.
definitely want to see like my wife's pussy is sweaty jokes, that kind of stuff. You know, so. Yeah,
But you work a room. You like a room full of drunks. When I was just gonna say, I saw you in Kansas, not Kansas City, but Lawrence, Kansas, at the weird comedy festival 5 years ago, Riptide Comedy Festival.
Harpoon Fest or
No, Riptide. It was
yeah,
like a it was a fest. I was there. It was
Peter
a fest.
Lyrene put
Sure.
it on, right? Okay.
A guy brought me, and they didn't even know I was coming. It was it was like I just started comedy, but you were I saw you work a huge bar room full of drunks.
Yeah, at that weird arcade bar, right?
Yeah, some weird.
Jackpot, I think.
Look at you. This is 5 years ago.
I mean, I've been back. You know,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
back to that spot, dude. Yeah, they're very nice to me.
But that kind of magic, the Sam Tallent magic in the room, that must have helped these crowds. But you didn't feel satisfied.
I would. Doing that comedy every night of the week makes you worse at comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing the fucking very low skill level, very vulgar, very basic, non-creative comedy,
Yeah.
like I really wanted to do my thing.
Yeah.
And
It's bad practice. You're
It's
practicing
very
the
bad.
wrong
Yeah, you
muscle.
practice
Yeah.
how you play, you
Yeah.
know, or you play how you practice. And so I was like trying to like maintain some artistic credibility or whatever, and just kept losing, dude. Just kept losing. Worst bombs of my life happened in Vegas, man.
For 2 years.
But I mean, I was on the road a lot, is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
More and more
So
on the
I'd be
road.
gone like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come home for 4 days. Wife is never home, and when she is home, she's like just totally swamped and
Yeah.
buried in schoolwork. It
She
was
just
just
wants
it
a
was
back rub. Yeah.
No, she couldn't have a back rub because she had to do flashcards for 4 hours. It was med school, dog. I mean, you went through
Damn.
it. It's incredibly rough.
Exactly. Yeah. As
And the
plus
first
one.
2 years when you're not in the hospital, like when you're not learning by doing and you're just like learning about fucking all the different strains of
You're
streptococcus.
just a test taker. You're
Yeah.
memorizing bones. and
Correct,
stuff. Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
So it was a very lonely time, man.
Yeah, it does.
Which
suck.
is cool because the book came out of it.
I was dating like her when she was studying for boards, and it really worked out for
Oh,
me because she was
God, yeah.
studying because she would study from like noon to 10 p.m. and then at 10 p.m. I'd be done with comedy, she'd be done with that, and like let's get a glass of wine until 2 a.m. and then sleep in, and then you'll study at noon, and I'll do my thing at noon.
Yeah. She never got that time off to do that.
Yeah,
She just
I'm
went
so
the 4
sorry.
years through, you
Yeah.
know.
There you go, privilege.
But, no, I mean it's
Or
a lot.
something.
Hey, med school's super hard. However, you got to get through it. get
Med
through
school,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Okay, the process. Yeah, I'm so curious about the process of 8 hours a day. How many words is a word count thing, or is it just working until you're done? Because aren't you just sitting in front of a laptop?
Sitting in front of a
Staring.
laptop at my kitchen table. Back then, I was still smoking weed and cigarettes, so it was like just weed all day, fucking coffee all day. It's just punctuated by cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, when I hit a wall, I'd go outside and fucking blast a smoke.
Which is what I mean, like, which unfortunately does work. I mean, like
Nicotine's
kind
a
of,
stimulant.
nicotine,
Yeah, it's good for your brain, bad for your body.
yeah,
But yeah, so I'm not like prolific, but I am a hard worker.
yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a lot better at like doing the even in stand up. Like I have to write on stage,
Yeah.
and that means I have to do 5 fucking shows at Go Bananas that weekend, and by the end of it, I have a new 5 minutes.
Right.
As opposed to going up there with some semblance of a fucking plan, instead of just literally throwing spaghetti at the wall every time. I definitely know the right way to do it the wrong way, if that makes sense.
The right way to do it the wrong way. Because you
Yeah.
think writing on stage is the wrong way to do it.
I mean, I'm envious of the people who can sit down, fill up a notebook, go on stage with ideas that they have some idea are funny.
Right.
As opposed to me just going up there with the line "fudge judge" in my hand and trying to fucking.
Which does rhyme.
It does rhyme,
It
yeah.
rhymes.
Thank you. That's the key.
Yeah.
You know, but going up there with like this one pearl, and then having to build the oyster and the shell and the plate to deliver this one pearl. You know what I mean? So yeah, I sat in front of the computer. I would try and hit 1,000 words a day. But if I could do more, I could do more. And
Yeah.
the first 2 hours every day were pretty much me like going over what I wrote the night before, because I
Okay.
didn't have an outline or a plan for this. It just
Yep.
kind of like it made sense, all the stuff he did, I guess is the best way to put it. And like kind of like when I'm on stage, me figuring out what's happening along with either the crowd or the character made it more of an organic thing. So I
Yeah.
think the book makes sense. Like, it does make sense that he would do that.
The book makes a lot of sense.
Yes, like in this instance, given these circumstances, he would probably do this thing.
Well, it takes
And I was
place-
right
yeah.
there with him, like, oh yeah, of course he would fucking drink Listerine.
It's very present. It's a
Oh,
very
thanks,
present
man.
book. It's like it takes place over the course of a week, and each day is just the day. Like the chapters are all days in the week.
Which makes it very readable.
Yes, it is.
It kind of
Yeah.
feels hacky, honestly. That I did that, you know? But,
1 week in the life of a It's easy to pitch.
and it's also the most, you know, it's the ultimate week in his life. You know, I don't want to give it away
Yes.
or anything, but, you know, there's like a lot of very, very big things happen to
Yeah.
him during this week. And so, yeah, I would just be in front of the computer, typing, revising the first. You're not supposed to reread what you wrote the day before, they all say.
I've heard not. George Saunders says what? Do you like George Saunders? I love George Saunders. He says that he starts every day by taking the temperature of what he wrote the day before and
Yeah.
seeing if am I there or do I need to shift it. He'll edit the day before it's writing before he does the
That's what I did.
thing.
I love
There
George
you go. You're in
Saunders.
good
All right,
company.
cool, good.
Syracuse University professor.
Yeah, dude. I know. God, fucking Civil War land, dude. I didn't know books could be funny.
Yeah, dude.
I always thought funny books had to be like hokey or stupid.
Yeah.
And then I read George Saunders, and I was like, oh my god.
That story. There's a story Sea Oak where it's like about a male stripper and his mom comes back to life and she's like, you gotta show dick.
Yeah.
You just gotta show dick.
Yeah, you gotta show
if you're gonna make money, you gotta be showing dick. And I'm like, this is such a fucking crazy premise.
Yeah.
And he takes it all the way.
But also, it's heartbreaking. Like that guy's able to be really funny, and then a line later, like really rip your heart out.
Because
which
he never
is incredibly
sells it.
hard to do.
He doesn't sell out the character for comedy. He
No.
does it's like really well written TV where it's like sometimes the jokes in good TV are because that character would so say that kind of thing, as opposed to like, just like
Right.
breaking the tension with something silly and
It's
stupid.
like when I learned improv, it's all about the relationships in the scene. And then you can like be funny if the relationships are important.
Yeah.
And like that's how Saunders is to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can feel it's so emotional. It's so emotionally real.
But yeah, being there in front of the computer, like Tom Waits is always like, you have to be in front of the piano if you want to do anything.
Yeah.
Because like the muse is out there. You just gotta like fight the muse.
Oh yeah.
And the muse will never like sit on your face unless you're like in front of the instrument, So yeah, just edit for like 2 hours and then, or until it was done, and then just try and hack it out.
Nice. 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Any day I was home.
Any day you were home and not on the road. Yeah.
Never rode on the road.
Did you read like The War of Art or On Writing or any of these like Go Get 'Em Tiger writing books?
I'm highly uneducated when it comes to writing, and in general. When it comes to books like contemporary fiction, pretty smart. I'm pretty good at Jeopardy too. And I don't know. I think it's just because I've absorbed a lot being the first generation online, and always wanted to show off when I would play fucking, Trivial Pursuit with my parents.
I love the thing is they pick questions on Jeopardy where it's like, if you've heard of Egypt, you probably know the pharaoh that we're going to ask you
It's
about.
either Alexandria or Cairo.
Exactly.
All right. So
Yes.
also, I just read a great book on Egypt, Beer in the Snooker Hall,
Be in the snooker hall.
which is fucking awesome. Anyway, but what the fuck was
Egypt.
I saying? Oh yeah. So I read On Writing by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Just because I heard it was a good book.
It is
It's
a
a
good
good book.
And he halfway through he's like, the writing thing is whatever. Here's how it happened when I got hit by a van.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, here's how my drug addiction panned out.
But also, I think if you like the War of Art or whatever, or all those books people read, it's like if this person could write a book, they would have written a book.
Yeah.
Instead of a book on how to write.
I think that guy wrote
He's probably like Don DeLillo wrote it or something.
No,
he probably wrote White Noise.
No. I was just thinking the screenwriting book that I loved I was like, what movie did this guy wrote? And it's Blank Check.
Oh,
that kid
fuck.
movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That kid lives in Boulder.
The kid who played the
The
Blank,
Blank Check
kid?
kid lives in Boulder, and we were like the same age, and he would just be terrorizing frat parties when he was in college.
Oh man, what a curse.
He was a Blank Check kid.
To be that guy.
That's
yeah.
it. He didn't
Yeah.
like have a big career after that.
Right. It's like if Macaulay Culkin only had Home Alone and then
Yeah.
got released into the wild,
Right.
you'd have the same.
So he'd just be up there
kinda
like finger banging and spitting on co-eds and like pouring Patron over people's eyes.
It's a curse, man. Yeah, I mean, it's like his parents shouldn't have let him do that, or they should have given him better guidance while he did, or something. I
Don't turn
know.
out your kids.
Don't do. Yeah, don't,
Yeah.
don't turn a trick on your kids.
But no, I haven't. I didn't like major in writing or anything either. Just read a lot. Reading was always really important to me and my family.
It worked out.
For sure, yeah.
Your dad did the edits.
My dad edited it. Yeah, my dad was the guy like Geek Love. I'm rereading for this book club, and Geek Love and
Which you've also mentioned in interviews. As
really important. Yeah, so it's funny that I'm reading it again. It's about like a family of fucking sideshow freaks.
Catherine Dunn.
Yeah. And like my dad gave me Geek Love. He gave me like Joe and like Father and Son by Larry Brown. Because I like to read, but he was like, look, man, you don't have to read Catcher in the Rye. Like
Yeah.
you can read this other cool
Although it
stuff
rules,
too.
though. Have you read Catcher in the Rye? It rules.
Of course, when I was a youth, But yeah, so I don't have like a big education. My dad did the edits. My wife did a pass on the edits. Like my father-in-law did a pass on the edits. But yeah, I mean, there's still
That's very vulnerable, though, isn't it? I mean, like that process. I mean, your dad. I mean, like first of all, if I'm writing a book, I'm writing it to impress my dad, basically.
Yeah.
So having him read it first and then tell me what's wrong with it would be a very huge issue.
I wasn't
for me.
asking for any kind of input on the story.
Okay.
It was literally copy editing.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
okay, should I use a comma here? And there's like every time, I've gone through again, and then a kid liked it a lot, and he gave me more edits like after it was
Nice.
published. So there's been revisions throughout the process, and I think it's pretty close to being like. But when it first came out, like there was still fucking mistakes and stuff in there.
And there, would you fix them? No.
So after I was turned on to the fact that they were wrong, I would then go back in and like edit the manuscript and then upload it to Amazon.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Which and the ones that are printed, those are mistakes.
The first, I think, 1,500
1500
have pornography is spelt wrong, and there's
Come on,
like,
Dad. Come on.
Yeah,
You know how to spell
I know.
porno?
My
Come on.
Dad loves porno. But yeah, I didn't ask for them to give me any input on.
So that was the discussion. What you had to lay that down.
I didn't have to lay it down, but I was like, "Look, Dad, I would love if you would edit this, but the book's good. Like, I don't need you to tell me if it's good or bad.
Okay.
I believe in the book."
Okay.
And he loved, my dad's my biggest fan. Him and my mom, like, they
Nice.
love what I do. So I was like, yeah, so just like, please go by line and tell me if anything's spelt wrong, or it's is really confusing for me. ITS
Yeah.
with an
Well,
apostrophe or
That's
not.
not possessive. That's what's so crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Because everywhere else is IT apostrophe S. That's or like apostrophe S is possessive.
Right.
Sam's book, it's SAM apostrophe
But
S.
it is.
It's a contraction of it is.
Yeah.
And once they did the contraction, they go, well, what the hell are we going to do for when it belongs to it? And they go, I don't know. We'll just do the other one. That's
know.
it's irregular. It's highly irregular.
So that fucks with me. It's also funny in that, I don't know. I don't want to repeat myself if you've listened to interviews I've done, but like in the book, you can tell when I was reading Graham Greene because there's like a million colons. I went on this colon spree where I was like doing sentences with like 3 colons in them because he does that a bunch.
But no semicolons. Colons.
I use a semicolon when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And like I was really enamored with the idea of doing like I think it's called auto-synditon or auto-synditation, which Cormac does, where it's just and. He does and all the time,
Okay.
and he uses no commas.
Okay.
And I wanted to do no quotation marks for the dialogue and
Yeah.
shit. And then I read a story I did like that, and I was like, God, this is pretentious.
It's pretentious, right?
For sure. You have to literally be the best writer in the world
Yeah,
to pull
to
that off.
distinguish. You have to
Yeah.
know it's someone's voice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like quotation marks. I think it makes sense.
Use the tools that are afforded to you.
Yeah, right. You have
Yeah.
these marks. Yeah, you're trying to communicate something, so don't be obtuse or
Yeah.
intentionally obscure your meaning.
Purposely obtuse pisses me off.
Yeah, because you're obtuse for the sake of pretension.
Yeah. Just
Semicolons.
looking affected is like my biggest fear.
Uh-huh.
Anyone thinking I'm pretentious or like doing something to look arty or something, I loathe that in people, and I hate it in myself too. If
That's
I'm
the
ever
comedian.
guilty
That's
of
the
it.
comedian in you. I think that's because
'Cause
artifice.
I'm self-editing all the time.
Yeah, artifice is instantly alienating to an audience. They
and
go,
disgusting.
This guy's not. Yeah.
Wait, that's a really good way to put that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. It was a very good interview. I'm really enjoying myself.
Thanks, man. I really enjoyed the book. I was really excited to talk to you. So
Usually they suck.
Yeah. Well, I think in person. I think as you talked about the specials, like in person podcasting is like dead right now, and so I'm gonna
Yeah.
about to have coronavirus and the corner on the in person podcasting market. Although I
100%.
tested negative very recently.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because I'm in your home breathing.
My
all
wife
of
knew
your-
that you were this close to me without a mask.
I know.
You'd be dead.
But I tested negative rather. What's negative?
Yeah.
And then negative. And then I was just in a hotel in a van until now.
Okay,
So
good.
No worries,
Yeah,
man.
you seem like the image of health.
Yeah. I like the no carbs, no cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I have definitely done no carbs and no cigarettes for a long time. But now it's the end of the world.
Right, live it up, man.
So-
There'll be plenty of time not to eat carbs in the
gonna
death
have some-
camps.
yeah, I'm gonna have some pasta, man.
Yeah.
You said in an interview that I heard, you said you don't believe in altruism.
I don't think you do anything altruistically. I think even if you're doing it,
Well, you don't know me very well.
I don't in the least. No, yeah.
No, go on.
No, I just think, I mean, even if you're doing it because you think it's the right thing to do, that's still like you're like morally have the high ground.
You're getting your jollies off of I did a good deed.
Yeah, exactly.
But those jollies, I mean, I took issue with that statement.
Sure.
It stuck out to me because I was like, sure you do. I mean, like, well, just because you feel good because you, right? So I guess you're saying there's no true altruism. What we call altruism is an exchange of deed for I get I give an apple to a homeless guy.
Yeah.
That is, I'm down one apple, but I'm up some serious self-esteem points.
Well, I don't believe in karma either.
Yeah.
Which I think is very much tied to the idea of altruism. But I mean, if you give someone an apple, you felt bad for them, and now you feel like you've bestowed an apple upon them.
Yeah.
And you've made their life better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, how can you be altruistic if you're still getting off on the idea of being altruistic?
Of course. So if you do it without enjoying it, if you're like, oh fuck, here's a goddamn apple, you piece of shit,
Yeah.
then that's altruistic? I don't know.
No, I mean, that's not altruistic.
But an anonymous donation, even an anonymous donation,
you're still scratching your itch of
you're scratching your damn itch.
Because like during fucking the Black Lives Matter shit, I organized this troll of Steve Mudflap McGrew.
Oh, he's a comedian, right?
He's a comedian who, I don't want to say he's anti-Semitic, but I don't think that would be a lie if I said that.
Okay, I don't know anything about him. So,
most important things to know about him: he broke in half. May or may not be a QAnon person, which is fine. Like, conspiracies are cool. I don't care if you voted for Trump. Like, I don't think Trump is cool because it seems like white nationalists are pretty stoked about having him as president.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, like there's politics are a fucking charade, as everyone knows, or a charade, depending on your pronunciation. Which is not at all that's not groundbreaking. But anyway, Mudflap McGrew, I've seen him get 3 standing ovations in one show. Very good comedian. He also says shit like, I'm not trying to raise a, what's he say? I'm not trying to raise a gay boy. I'm trying to raise a man. Like, it's that kind of comedy.
Oh boy.
Which is, hey.
Yeah.
Look. I don't want to defend that kind of comedy. It's not my cup of tea.
No.
But he does kill, okay? To his people.
And that's
but anyway,
undeniable.
I organized this troll where I was like, hey, this one day only, Steve Mudflap McGrew is matching donations to Black Lives Matter. So if you send me a receipt, I'm going to help Steve facilitate this thing.
Okay.
And people were like, wow, Mudflap's turning his cheek. Like, this is really cool. And then my friend Alex put up $1,500. I put up a $500.
Fuck yeah.
And we matched up to $2,000 worth of donations. All right. And it was like really cool. But I told my buddy Aaron Urist about it, who Mudflap was anti-Semitic to. Urist, big fat Jew. Which he is, and that's not what Mudflap said.
That's a Sam Tallent quote.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a big fat Jew.
But he's at my wedding party. I love him dearly, and I told Urist that, and then Urist started telling people like, yeah, it was actually me and Sam. Urist didn't put up a dime,
Oh, okay.
But
so who was the other guy? Some other guy.
Alex, comic in Vegas, who's like rich. But anyway, I didn't want anyone to know I did that. Because I was worried it would be performative and people would think that I was virtue signaling.
Right, okay.
Which, fine, do that. Like, that's fine. It's just not my cup of tea.
If you're signaling virtue, at least something virtuous is happening.
Be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
But
I don't understand the troll, though. So the troll, because Mudflap was not matching the donations.
No. So all these people were hitting up Mudflap like, hey, man, thank you for coming out on the right side of history. Thank you for supporting Black Lives Matter. And then Mudflap was put in the position where he had to say, I don't support Black Lives Matter.
It's a chess move.
He had to say it out loud because his base was furious that they saw all these screenshots tagged with him.
Very good, very
good. So he had to be on his Facebook, be like, I don't support this shit.
Wow,
which was great. That was a win.
You're forcing. They say that's actually a very good. It's like you did a non-violent protest against Mudflap. Is what you said. It's like the key is forcing your opponent to publicly do the bad thing.
Correct.
Like you lay your neck down and you force them to put their boot on your head.
Correct.
So you got Mudflap.
I flap attacked. Yeah.
Flat back.
Exactly. We flat back against racism. But anyway. Was there altruism in that, even though I didn't go public? No, because I was having fun online with my friends.
Yeah, okay.
I was getting off
Getting your jollies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And even if I would have done it as an anonymous person is donating, I still know that I was the puppeteer behind the whole thing.
You go to bed a little more cozy that night thinking I'm a great little guy.
I still tell my wife I did it, and she's like, you don't have that kind of money. What's the matter with you?
We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in med school.
It's like, bitch, I'm rich.
It's coming.
This book is a big success, baby. I remember when I had to break it down how many copies I'd sold, and she was like, wait, how much do you make per copy? And I was like, this much money? And she was like, wait, what the fuck? And I was like,
Nice.
yeah, like we're fine,
Fuck
baby.
yeah, dude.
Don't worry, we're okay.
Isn't that great? I feel like the nightmare of writing a book is like no one's gonna read it. I'm just wrote a book for no reason.
Correct.
And then I'm picturing like a box of books under your desk kind of thing that like
Mhm.
these are my fucking books.
Yeah.
So isn't that great? It already paid off.
I was offered very little money through my lit agent.
Yeah.
And we made a lot more money than we were offered.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And
he
it's-
wasn't involved. He didn't get his fucking beak wet at all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And what a great continuation of the Sam Tallent sort of aesthetic, right? The DIY sort of thing.
Yeah. Sam Tallent has to make the best of a situation
artifice.
yet again.
Yes. And once again, you're shrinking from the artifice that I'm putting on you of the Sam Tallent aesthetic. Of
No, I
DIY.
rule. I'm a fucking folk hero. I'm fine with that. I'm the underground legend.
Legendary. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That was funny, man. One time I went back to I think it was Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I was like 28. I wasn't 30 yet, and they had the flyer said the underground legend returns.
Wow.
And they were like, "Do you like it?" And I was like, "Man, I'm fucking 28.
Yeah.
Like, what do you? Don't put this on me."
Part of me likes it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but also then it's like when people introduce you as the funniest comedian they've ever seen,
it's like this guy better be fucking funny.
and
yeah.
the crowd has the highest expectations.
What a terrible intro.
It's the worst,
Yeah.
dude. I remember Seinfeld yelled at Louis C.K. about that because Louis used to do that. Initially, he did it because he didn't know any better. Then later on, when he would open for Seinfeld, he would do it just to fuck over Seinfeld. Yeah.
That's very good stuff.
Oh, for sure. It rules.
What is your personal relationship with cocaine?
I don't do cocaine.
You never did it? You did
I've
it.
done cocaine.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do cocaine 3 times a year.
Okay,
And
yeah.
it's like a bump.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when I'm like in Miami
Yeah.
or it's someone's birthday.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the last time I did it, it's because they were doing cocaine off a giant sword.
oh, well,
And
come
I was
on.
like,
you
well, I
gotta
gotta be
say
a
no?
part of this.
I'm not going to say no to that.
Yeah, they had a novelty-sized sword, and they were
of
like,
all the
"Do you
things.
want one?"
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, instead of doing it off of the changing station to the bathroom. Yeah, like I'll take a sword.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
give
it
me a
enough.
sword. It's just so much less sad.
Yeah, man, but I'm not a coke guy.
'Cause, I mean, obviously, cocaine is all up and down and over the book. Billy
Yeah.
Ray Schaefer loves cocaine. He thinks about it all the time, almost as
Mhm.
much as booze.
yeah,
It's harder to get, so he's always like got a drink in hand, looking for some cocaine.
correct. Yeah,
Um,
you can always get booze, but it's tough.
drinks are free.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more of a. I think my demons are more with booze for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you said you quit pot.
quit pot.
Did you
yeah.
quit booze?
No,
You quit.
definitely not.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I quit pot because I was having panic attacks.
Oh, that's.
I smoked pot like every day from
Oh, you
like
can't
13.
handle your shit.
Yeah, so like I was like, it was my best friend. I was stoned from 2000. I mean, every day, like hardcore stoned, probably 2002 until March 17th of this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just like an eighth a day weed guy,
Wow.
like getting paid in weed sometimes, like because I was a better financial call, you know. Yeah, spent so much
Eighth a
money on
day,
weed.
dude. Eighth a day.
Easy an eighth a day, sometimes more than that.
That's so wild.
and it wasn't even weird to me.
But you're burning. I mean, like my first instinct is you're burning the weed wrong, Sam Tallent, right? You're rolling it up and right. I mean, like I used to smoke when I smoked a lot. I smoke a
Yeah.
decent amount now. I smoked a lot. I would smoke an eighth every 2 weeks.
That's not a lot.
I know, but
You're
I know.
insane.
But
How dare
it's a
you?
bong. I know. I mean, I was high every day. I mean, like, so you're lighting up like a fucking Cheech and Chong stogie and letting it burn in your
No,
hand.
It's more. I've been lucky that all I do is stand up for money. At least
Yeah.
I did until recently. So every day was just me going over to Nathan Lund's house or me going over to Chris
Right.
Charpentier's house and just smoking weed all
Yeah.
day, playing FIFA.
Smoking some people up. That's
yeah,
gotta
exactly.
go.
Getting smoked
yeah.
up, going to the park, getting fucking super stoned,
Sure,
and
sure.
reading. But yeah, just like having a bowl packed 24/7, like walking around like this, like thumb covering up the bowl, the spigot of the pipe coming out, just constantly fucking, it was like a palsy that I had.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, all the time.
Ready to go.
Weed in my pocket. Personality defined by weed.
Yeah.
You know.
That's Chris. That's Chris. I just saw Chris Higgins roll up and join the party, and he goes, "I like this stuff. I think I might make it my whole personality." It was so much.
Chris Higgins' dad is gonna give me a gold tooth, by the way.
I don't understand any of that.
His dad's a dentist.
Okay, that makes
That
that's good.
sponsors the Boulder Comedy Show, which
Okay.
is probably the best show on a Sunday. One
His
of the
dad
best.
sponsors a comedy show in Boulder.
Yeah, Higgins' dad rules. Dr. Higgs, he's the best.
Oh
Last
my
time-
God! I just talked to his girlfriend. His girlfriend. I go, "Who's your biggest crush?" And she goes, "Probably Chris's dad."
Easy for sure. Yeah, I remember I was on stage like 2 weeks ago doing the comeback of the Boulder Comedy Show, and I saw Dr. Higgins in the crowd, and I was like, "That's Dr. Higgins. Round of applause for him. He's gonna give me a gold tooth." Shout out to his 2 sons. I know that. Hopefully, he has another kid that's like retarded or something, because he seems to be batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah, fun kids. Those are great kids.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
giving you a gold tooth? Or
He's
was it?
going to install a gold tooth, an incisor.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's going to be great.
it's gonna be pretty sick.
Why do you, it's right, is that fake? And you want a gold one?
No, this is a real tooth I have. I don't have any fake teeth.
And he's going to take out until you get a gold one.
He's going to shave it down and give me a gold tooth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you prefer that to a white one?
I want a gold tooth, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Probably because I've read Pimp too many times. But I thought it was always be a better move than a wedding ring, would be the gold tooth. Because it's like permanent, you know? My wife was like, no way. And she was like, if you sell X amount of books, fine.
Wow.
And I did. And I was like, you blew
Getting
it,
the
lady.
gold.
Yeah, getting this gold tooth.
You picked the wrong line.
Yeah, exactly.
You picked the under, and yeah, that's a mistake.
Overhit
Yeah.
hard. Overhit in the first half, baby.
We covered.
Yeah, we covered hard.
We covered. So
Yeah.
yeah, Daddy's getting a gold inside.
You need to reassess your betting model,
Oh.
baby.
I would never do that. But
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. That's the difference between you and me.
For sure. You wouldn't get a gold tooth?
Not a gold tooth kind of guy.
Yeah, it's all right.
Which you probably knew when you walked in and you called me handsome, which I appreciate.
I never assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're a strikingly handsome
Thank you
person.
very much.
Yeah,
I want to get that on because you said it off mic. I want to make sure I have it on. Yeah. So
good call.
I'll add it to my mixtape of different people.
I
calling me
think that's
handsome.
why I'm enjoying this conversation so much, because it literally feels like I'm on television. Like there's this
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stunning jawbone across
Yeah.
from me, and we're sitting in these
Hey,
chairs.
these are so tonight show
right?
chairs.
I know, dude. It's crazy.
I know you can make your own TV show now. It's great.
I could,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, if I
then
cared about
soon-
producing content at
yeah,
all.
Yeah, and then soon you'll see me. I'll be hosting, Celebrity Circle Jerk or whatever.
He'll be on Access Hollywood.
Yeah, and it'll be and I'll be you'll see the soul behind my eyes is entirely gone.
Yeah, man. But they'll see also that swimming pool.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Come on over anytime.
I'm all about selling out.
Anytime.
I cannot wait to sell.
You
out.
are not all about selling
No,
out.
literally not trying to be cool. I cannot wait to sell the film rights to this book.
Boom.
And if they make the shittiest movie ever, I don't care
don't
because
care.
I have a check.
You're not gonna not Steinbeck, the author of Catcher in the Rye, who never sold the rights.
Oh, yeah, not
not
Holden
Steinbeck.
Caulfield.
No, it's the guy who wrote it.
Yeah,
He's a recluse. He
Uh-huh.
wrote Franny and Zoe.
he wrote 9
He
stories.
wrote 9 stories. Who cares what his name is?
Oh,
Look it up.
Fuck.
Fucking
How
look it up,
insane
assholes.
is it that we've had this very pretentious literary
Yes,
conversation?
We're killing it, and yet he starts with an S.
Salinger.
Salinger. Thank you
Yeah,
very
J.D.
much.
Salinger.
You're not going to Salinger it, where he refused to. Although it would have been a great movie. Catcher in the Rye would be a great movie. Maybe it wouldn't be.
It would be one of those movies they made every 15 years. They would update it, and like the one they make this time would have like it would be like a black kid or
Oh, yeah.
something. Finally, you know.
Sure. If
Yeah.
you want to go racial? Yeah, let's talk about race.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
it's
of
just like
course.
it'd
No,
be
I'm
one of those
kidding.
movies that reflected what was going on. Like fuck. What's that movie they make every 20 years? I don't know, but it would just be like it would be a reflection held up to
Ooh, a
society.
Chalamet Catcher in the Rye? Yeah, I'll be
Oh,
there.
Come on,
I'll
dude,
be
what
there
a
on
babe.
I'll be there on day 1.
Yeah. Ooh.
Thank you
yes.
thank you very much, Salinger. So the movie rights. Who's gonna play Billy Ray Schaefer?
Perfect World. What's his name? The guy that was in Step Brothers with Will Ferrell.
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly, I think would be perfect.
Ooh.
He's the one I have in my head.
Is he sloppy enough? I mean, like I picture this is a fat slob of a man, Billy Ray Schaefer. Or is he?
I think he bulks up a little bit for
Yeah.
the role.
Yeah, you gotta have him do that.
But you know, I think he's also 6'2",
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
a
he's an
lot of-
incredible actor too.
Oh, and
He's
also
so
funny. Yeah, he's really funny, and also he has the chops. I mean,
He's got chops for days. I didn't know. I didn't know him from Step Brothers, and I was like, "What? He's
Yeah.
got such chops."
yeah. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman would have been sick. The dark horse one that I think could really like launch his career again is Donald Logue.
I don't know. Donald Logue.
Donald
Hit me
Logue
again.
was in a bunch of bad TV shows. Well, I don't know what his most. He was in this movie called The Tao of Steve,
No.
which came out when I was probably 12, and it was about a fat guy who played disc golf and got laid too much, and like he like smoked weed and like lived in I think Santa Fe, and my family spent a lot of time in Taos and Santa Fe growing up, so this is like a very important movie for me, and I've always loved him, and he's like kind of a big hulking man.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I think if you put some sideburns on him, some mutton chops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some ill-fitting pants. I'm picturing bad dresser Billy Ray Schaefer.
You know what? I think all he really has are his shirts that he wears.
They're hung up in the back seat.
That's
what a
right.
fucking detail.
Yeah.
He doesn't drive with them on. He gets to the show and puts on the shirt.
Because I think he's
Fucking
sweating
killer.
through those shirts. And he wears like cowboy
Absolutely.
snap shirts.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like rock. I think that he definitely has a shirt budget.
Are they like studded, like with the pattern on the front kind of thing?
They're all the shirts I have up in my closet right now. It's this cowboy persona.
They're
It's
your
the shirts
shirts.
my grandpa wore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right,
But
which would
unironically.
go over well with the rubes. in
Oh
the
yeah,
country.
for sure.
Yeah, you describe Billy Ray Schaefer as the what you don't want to become.
Correct. That's
Yeah.
what I fear becoming.
Yeah, which is funny because you're talking about your long-term plan. You're like, well, I don't want to be like a road comic long-term. And I was like, exactly. I know what that looks like because I read a fucking book called Running the Light.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, sad.
Like I don't want to get divorced ever.
Yeah,
Like I'm not one of these people that could just be like, yeah, shit happens. Like there's
Yeah.
no divorce in my family. No one's ever been divorced. I'm not gonna be the first one.
wow. Is there some
Yeah.
unhappy marriages?
No, they all
There
rule.
you go.
Yeah, I don't think so. My mom and dad have persevered through a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're, you know, my mom had that stroke. My dad's been her caretaker for the last 4 years.
I was
He
gonna
really
say, oh
stepped
my
up
God,
to the table.
She's still like feeling the effects of that stroke.
Yeah, I mean, she can't like talk all the way yet, and luckily my wife got her on gabapentin, but she like her right side was like really fucked up and she
Oh,
couldn't
no.
feel anything. Yeah, I mean it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I mean they're old, dude. I'm
So
glad
who you
she's
vo-
alive.
Who
It's
you
a
vote- who
victory
you
she's
voting for?
alive.
Who you voting for, by the way?
My wife does all that. I lived in the anarchist commune, dude. I don't believe in the democracy that we have in this country.
Yeah.
But my wife gets to vote twice. That's pretty sick. Like, you
Uh,
want me to fucking get fired up for fucking Joe Biden?
No,
It's
I don't.
impossible.
It's not what I
What
want.
an honor it is to vote for Joe
Oh,
Biden
my God, I know.
of Delaware,
Oh my God.
the most corporate politician we may have ever had,
Thank you. Thank you
who's
very much.
done so much to fucking suppress black people, to ruin
My
inner
God.
cities. I mean, look, please don't vote for Trump. Trump's
Yeah.
bad news. Just because he fucking is down with the Klan.
Not good.
Like, I don't know anything
And
about
he's
his
like-
economic policy.
He's dog whistle. He's like
all the time.
He can't give up the Klan vote.
No.
It's a base for
He
him.
wouldn't denounce his relationship with the
couldn't
Proud
denounce-
Boys
exactly.
on a fucking live debate.
I know.
Look, man, that's not the country I want to live in.
No.
No. So, like, look, I think they're all bogus and they all get paid off by the same people, but
As a comedian,
yeah.
do you think it'll be this is the old question about is Trump good for comedy? But I think like the culture under Trump has been a little bit unbearable. The culture that like us as liberal artists have to sort of adhere to, sort of like we have to, I don't know. There's adherences we have to make as under Trump. It's like we're fighting him, and we all have to be on the same side, and we all have to be policing each other's language and stuff like that. Do you think the cultural shift, if Biden wins, in comedy, will be better? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I appreciate you giving me like a nuanced question, but I really don't know.
There you go.
I think that the culture wars that are going on right now don't have anything to do with Trump. I think some people
Nope.
feel more their resolve has been steeled by the fact that they have a supervillain that they're like actively fighting against, but people looking at jokes as statements is
Yeah.
just asinine.
You're right.
Like, jokes are jokes.
And that wouldn't go away under a Biden administration.
No, and also, like, for instance, Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis was doing character on his podcast
Right.
of a guy who was racist.
Yeah.
I don't think he should got locked up for that.
Yeah.
But
Locked
Shane
up.
Gillis also said faggot a bunch on his podcast.
Yeah.
Can't say that stuff.
No.
That hurts people's feelings.
Right.
People grew up in a world where they were called that, and it fucking ruined them and hurt them.
Well, I grew up in a world that was called that. Yeah.
I
we
do
grew-
too,
yeah, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
But, like,
you're reading a book.
at
of course.
least get the guy for the crime he committed.
Yeah.
And Shane's a friend of mine,
Yeah.
you know? But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be one of these anti-cancel culture guys,
And
but
me
I'm
neither.
pro-joke.
Yeah.
I think jokes are what's important.
I think comedy's amazing. I was just talking to somebody who's going through trauma therapy, and they go, I love John Mulaney, and my trauma therapist has me picking out little comedy clips to play after I discuss a trauma or something. I was like, oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
Of course comedy is helping you with your trauma. That's what comedy does.
And also, I feel like, I don't know. It just seems like thought policing. It sounds like very much through the looking glass to get people for what you know is to be a joke. And sure, it might be
Yeah.
a joke in bad taste.
Yeah.
But you don't need to take a man's life away, you
Yeah.
know? I think that in Shane's situation where he's going to be on SNL, which is this fucking, cultural hallmark in America, you can't have a guy who said that stuff the same time that you have Bo and Yang being on that show.
Right.
Bo and Yang didn't hurt anyone.
No.
And if you, I don't want to, Shane's not a martyr, but like he was guilty of his crimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just get him for the right crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And finally, someone's discussing PT culture on a podcast. I mean,
Yeah,
thank
God.
God it's being covered.
At least it's us,
It-
two
it-
cisgendered men.
It really ought to be. It really ought to be. Thank you for noticing, by the way.
Of course,
It really ought to
it's
be.
impossible not to.
Every
Those
time-
cheekbones.
I know the bone structure.
Mhm.
Every time I listen to like Rogan or something like that, and they go, jokes are jokes. I go, I'm gonna skip ahead 25 minutes. I'm
I
not gonna miss
know.
a single
Mhm.
thing.
But I really do like, as a comedian, I liked the hearing insane ideas from fucking madmen and crazy women.
Yeah.
Like that was cool to be at the Lions Lair in Denver on Monday and hear people say some shit that no one would ever say because we all know better. Like we know what's right and wrong. And to hear someone who doesn't give a shit anymore get up there and just espouse these ideas, it's like, I'm glad I
Yes.
got to experience that.
Right. You get to challenge. You get to be challenged in that
Yeah,
way,
I'm
or
not
at
going to
least
sign up
see
for the guy's newsletter.
No. Yeah.
But I didn't know that about Puerto Ricans.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learned something new.
Right.
I want to ask you about the my favorite scene in the book was the Norm Macdonald scene. I think it was so amazingly written. I think the impression that you do on paper of Norm Macdonald's speech was like really spot on, and like made me laugh out loud. Like I remember there's a moment where Billy Ray Schaefer's talking about he started comedy in prison, and Norm goes, "That's not the only thing he learned in prison. He also learned male rape."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's a perfect Norm joke." So how did you? I'm sure many comedians crossed your mind for that spot.
No. So I mean, it wasn't always. It's not like I had that circled on a map because again, I didn't have an outline for the book.
Right.
But when he had to go to Denver, I knew when I figured out that his weekend was canceled at Wits End, it was like, what's he gonna do now? He's probably gonna go to Comedy Works.
Yeah.
What's his relationship with Comedy Works? Let's figure that out. Who's at Comedy Works? Well, someone who I can write.
Your friend Nathan Lund
And Kevin O'Brien.
Kevin O'Brien, who I know in New York.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see that.
Who was
Yeah.
not happy about being in the book.
Tell me everything about that.
Oh my God, Kevin hit me up with a screenshot of the first time he appears in the book, and he's like, "What's my cut of this?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Do I get as much as Norm?" And I was like, "You get exactly as much as Norm does." And he was like, "Is this what you think about me?" Because I called him spoon-faced. I said he had soft hands. I said he was prematurely balding.
Okay.
Which in this book, I think he was 25 in my mind. He was all of those things for sure. Kevin, you weren't working a fucking plow, brother. But also, me putting you in this book is the highest compliment I can give
right,
you.
right.
Like it made sense for you guys to be on that show.
Well, I
And
thought it would be a thing where you're picking people who wouldn't mind. I'm surprised that he minded.
I didn't. It really rocked my world to find out that he was upset.
How did it resolve?
We didn't talk about it for 3 weeks.
There you go.
And then I was talking to his now fiance, Mara Wiles, who me and Emily love Mara. I love
great.
Kevin too.
Yeah.
I love them both. But Mara and I, she's one of my favorite women in the world.
She's so sweet.
She's the best. And we were talking about something stupid, and I was like, by the way, is Kevin still pissed? And she's like, oh, he wasn't mad about that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, good, because
Okay.
why hadn't we spoken in 3 weeks?
Right. Right.
But yeah, Lund also. I call Lund fucking porcine and corpulent. I call him a big fat pig over and over again, disheveled.
You have Billy Ray Schaefer make fun of Lund and
Yeah,
Kevin, right?
yeah. But anyway, I listened to. I think Norm's the best comedian. And
Is he your favorite comedian?
He's my favorite comedian,
And he is the best. Because that's a distinction you made
Yes.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, he's both those things entwined. Good point. I don't know. I like a lot of. I really like that show. I think you should leave on Netflix.
Me
Have you seen
too,
that?
dude. It's
That's
so
my favorite
funny.
thing this year.
It's so funny, and if you don't
Yeah.
think that's funny, I just don't think that you get it. I think it's like I hate to be the guy who I would put it on for a potential girlfriend and be like, "What do you think?" And if she
Yeah.
doesn't like it, I don't think it's very good.
I was nervous.
Girlfriends do tend to hate that, though. I know all my friends' girlfriends are like, "Are you watching this crazy shit again?"
I'm sorry. One moment.
No problem.
Ori. Hey man, I'm doing a podcast. Can I call you back? Yep, it's very gay. Are you okay? All right, I'll call you back. Sorry, David Bory, very emotionally needy.
And we've done plenty of time too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm enjoying myself too.
Good.
Just make sure Emmett hasn't called me. Okay, so we were talking about Norm being the best. What else?
Do you want to hit a jewel?
No, I'm cool. I got this.
Good for you. Good for you.
I got the old CBD.
O'Doul's.
O'Doul's. I mean, I'll just go out and buy Juul pods if I was to start smoking them.
You have. That's what's so fucking crazy is you have the jewel with a CBD pod.
Well, I order these online. And I'm sure they're not reputable. And I
The
probably
pods?
have diverticulitis or something.
Yeah, well, that's what's crazy is the knockoff. That's what's so scary is the knockoff pods
Yeah.
are the ones that are bad. I don't know. They're all probably bad. Whatever.
I don't think there's any wins in this game long term.
Oh, there's nicotine
Hopefully-
lozenges is the move.
It is,
Do you like?
allegedly.
I love a lozenge.
Okay, well, good. Maybe I'll switch to lozenges.
Try it. It's crazy.
I mean, I'm not like shaking hands anymore for cigarettes, but like,
oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I'm not like ugh.
I just think it's a great stimulant. I think it's like
I
you
do-
have your coffee, you have your nicotine,
I do
you're
too.
flying.
Yeah, I think when I get really hard into the next book, I'm gonna have a hard time not smoking. But
There's pouches that aren't tobacco
the
pouches.
snooze pouches.
There's snooze. That's tobacco, I believe, but spit free. But there's ones that are just kind of like the powdered nicotine as a pouch. I actually prefer the lozenge.
Yeah.
And you get fucking ripped. Like you get like nicotine ripped. My brother smokes Juul all day, and he ran out of battery on the golf course, and I gave him a lozenge, and he's like, "This is what you're doing all the time? Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm about to throw up." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what gives me my fucking spark."
I remember chewing Red Man and just how fucked up it would get. me,
That's like
dude.
the leaves, right?
Yeah, it's the unrefined.
But it's also no fiber class. You know, this in fucking
know.
if you buy like
I know.
Skull, I learned that and I go, what? How are we selling this to people?
I know. In high school and during football and wrestling, I wouldn't smoke cigarettes because I had. they put me in a coach's class at the beginning of the day every day to see if I smelled like cigs.
That's good. Wow.
Really smart. So I would be chewing all the time.
Is this a small school? Because it
Yeah.
really had a handle on you.
Oh, incredibly small.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was also like the biggest man on campus. Like,
Was it? You were the biggest man on campus.
literally and figuratively, yeah, for sure. So yeah, they couldn't like jeopardize having to what's the term? I don't want to say prosecute. They didn't want to have to punish me
Right.
because then I couldn't play.
Give the consequences to take you out of the game. And
Right.
didn't you sign? Did you sign some non-smoking thing? I had to sign something. I wouldn't drink beers.
Drinking, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then I got busted drinking my senior year, and it
Yeah.
was like end of the world. I had to go talk to my fucking grandpa about it. Like that was my punishment. I had to sit out a game,
Damn.
and it was like, luckily it was against Jefferson. But I mean, football was like a really big deal.
What position did you play?
I was a right tackle for a left-handed quarterback, so I was a blindside tackle, all state. Very good at football.
Nice. Oh, yeah, you could have gone to Dartmouth.
Could have gone to Dartmouth.
Did you
man.
play at the school? No, it was a commuter school. You didn't play at the school
I
you
did
went to.
not. No, but man, I wish I could.
I can hear the regret in your voice when you talk about your college days. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't regret because I never would have done stand-up if I went off
There you go. Yeah.
But there is just like my friend Mishka Shubali, he teaches at Yale every like year.
That's awesome.
He teaches like a semester at Yale on creative writing. And like, you know, Mishka will get offers for shit to do like really lucrative like ghostwriting or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm never jealous about any of it. But I am incredibly jealous that they were like, yeah, why don't you come to Yale? But then I forgot that he like went to Columbia or NYU or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fucking country club. It's a system of country clubs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I got a master's in education. I went to a small Catholic liberal arts school, and then I got a master's in education at Colgate University, which is kind of like a
Colgate's very good.
like a mini Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But their graduate program is, between you and me and the podcast listeners, trash. It's cobbled together from undergrad classes.
Yeah.
So it was a really good kind of grift, and it was very cheap. It was a good grift to get a master's. And now I'll be drunk like, I have a fucking master's degree. I don't know why I'm fucking doing here. And then my friends who know me for a long time, they don't even know I have one. I love dropping it on them.
Yeah.
And they go, "Whoa, you don't even mention it." That's what
That's
it's
such
good
a
for.
dangerous line of thought, though, because I'll have that when I do like a very bad show in Denver. It's like, man, I just fucking did JFL. Like, why am I
Yeah.
here
Oh,
for
yeah.
like 10 people?
Yeah,
And then I got to slap myself on the wrist.
of course.
I got to like when you miss a free throw shot and you got to snap the rubber band. I got to do that to myself.
Bad
man.
dog. Bad
Yeah.
dog.
But yeah, Norm's the best, and
Norm.
I could write him because I've listened to thousands of hours of him speak.
What is the quintessential introduction to Norm Macdonald's comedy for you?
Watch that last Letterman set.
Nice.
Yeah,
Lately? Recently?
So it was the last set. It was the last episode of Letterman, and Norm was the last person to perform.
Oh, cool.
And at the end of it, he breaks down, and he has like this incredibly sincere moment, and he starts to cry. Because Letterman's his favorite comic. Like, he loves Letterman, and Letterman's always been so good to him. And he, like, I don't know, just watch it. It's awesome.
Amazing. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
and he does that bit about Germany. You ever seen that bit?
No, it's about Nazis or something?
Well, it's like,
I think I remember something.
yeah, I don't know if you're history buffs, but Germany, they went to war. Who'd they go to war with? The world. Yeah. Yeah.
Who did they choose as their opponent in this war?
Yeah.
The world.
Uh-huh. And that was the First World War, and then he talks about the Second World War.
Oh, great.
And he's like, believe it or not, it was close. So yeah, watch that. That's a great intro.
And you haven't met him. I think I heard you say that on the
Never
podcast.
met the
Never
guy.
met him.
Yeah.
You'd love to, obviously.
Yeah, I'd
Or
probably
would you?
shit my
Never meet
pants.
Never meet your heroes kind of thing.
No, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I would want to not bother him. You know what I mean?
Which is
you know what I would
that's
do?
what
I've thought about it.
All right.
I would walk in to the green room at Comedy Works if I'm featuring for him or hosting him, and I would be carrying a work of fiction, but not one that's like too highfalutin. Like, I wouldn't walk in with like Infinite Jest.
Okay. Right.
I'd walk in with maybe like maybe Beloved, some Toni Morrison thing, you know. Or if I really wanted to hit it on the head, I'd walk in with like some, maybe not Lolita, but some work by like Dostoevsky, maybe Notes from the Underground.
Sure.
You know, something that looks like I might actually be reading it, and I'd leave it in a place where he could actually see it. And then that way he could be like, "Oh, you're reading that?" And I could be like, "Yeah, man." And like, I don't know if I get it, blah blah blah. Like, I read a lot of books, but I don't really understand, you know. And then of course, if it works, I then have to spring on him. By the way, I wrote a novel that like close to 10,000 people have read, and you're featured prominently in it. By the way, not that I know a lot about you, not that this was a completely preconceived setup, and that's hopefully if we hit it off.
How artificial, Sam. That is
Dude,
very artificial.
Completely fraudulent. But also the other option is, because I'm a sincere, earnest person, so me walking into the room and being like, "Hello, Mr. McDonald. You're so important to me." I almost said pivotal again. You're so important to me that I wrote this book.
Yeah.
And it's about this very room that we're sitting in.
Right.
And because I know he has a copy. I know he has 2 copies. Because Sean O'Connor dropped him off a copy, and then who is he? Someone else gave him a copy too. I don't know. I know that they were put in his mailbox at his home in L.A.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
you'd wait for him to see you go up or something, and that's your in. That's what I always like.
I don't think Norm would ever watch my set.
Really.
I don't think Norm's the guy who watches the
Yeah.
sets.
Okay.
Stanhope watches the sets, but I think Norm is in his notes.
He's a
kind
looking
of
at the
guy,
notes.
like
Yeah.
a Louis C.K. guy.
Yeah. But then you perform. So obviously you're a performer of caliber, and he would.
Hopefully, Wendy
Respond to
Curtis,
that.
the owner of Comedy Works, would be like, "Norm, by the way, this is Sam, and he wrote a very good book.
There you go.
And you're in it."
And you're in it.
Yeah.
That's cool. There was no other. I thought maybe there would be. That's cool. It was always going to be Norm.
I mean, it wasn't. It happened to be Norm. It happened to be that there needed to be a guy who was at the club.
Who was
Billy Way? He connected Billy between the old world and the
and
new
that was
world.
great because up until then, it's almost like you're hearing about all these feats this guy had, and it sounds like what a washed up fucking headliner would say to you. Like, I did the Tonight Show, I had a development deal,
I was
in
edited out of
LA
Beverly Hills Cop 2
for being too funny,
for stealing his
stealing
scenes.
the show from
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Which I've heard someone say.
That is absurd.
Yeah, and then also it's
What
funny.
a great brag.
Oh, awesome, brag.
Perfect.
You can't figure it out.
can't figure it out.
Yeah.
You don't know
What are you
the
gonna ask
editor.
Eddie Murphy? Yeah. And then
Eddie's
also,
on around.
I like that he was in Fletch Lives. Like, on stage, he's like, "I've done all types of bad shit. I've robbed, I've used guns. I was in Fletch Lives," which is like the worst.
Bad shit,
movie.
man. Bad shit. Can never forgive myself for some of that stuff. Damn. But that's and like right. It's like in the middle, right? Or it's like kind of climaxing, and you're like, oh, this is real. Like Norm goes Billy Ray. Like, it's like Norm knows him, and like
Yeah.
so all of this stuff that's been built up as this sort of legendary, and also he's not the narrator, but it's all in his. It's all in his. It's limited to his perspective.
Mhm.
So you do have some chances of is this guy being unreliable or is he whatever. So it really hits when Norm is like talking Billy Ray up to the young guns. You're like, oh, this guy was a legend. Like you do believe it, and then he has to and then he goes on and kind of faces those things further. It's perfect. It's right where it should be.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I just like that he's the conduit between like what was and what is,
Yeah, because he's around.
Jeselnik hit me up. Like he tweeted about it and he talked about it on his podcast.
Really?
Couple
That's
times.
amazing.
It's awesome.
You're getting some really good bumps.
Also, he's really smart.
He's
Like,
so literary.
He reads a lot, and he said that it was the best book about stand up, which is not a lot of competition, but just he said it was an excellent book, and then he like hit me up in the DMs and was like, the only thing I didn't like about it was Norm's the old sage character. I thought he didn't like that Norm was like this like, omnipotent moral compass sage. And I was like, because him and Norm, he like knows Norm. They were on Last Comic together.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's very valid.
So was he
criticism.
ragging on Norm, you think, maybe? Or do you think that was genuinely valid criticism?
I don't know. I think it was like the issue with like, the magical black man in film. Where it's like you have this guy who like kind of knows all the answers or is like the guiding light.
And it's like the author is just puppeting this guy.
Correct,
and just here's the moral of the story.
Because like Norm's like spiritual in the book a little bit, and like he asks, "Do you believe in signs?"
Yeah,
which it just seems like something Norm would say.
That's pretty cool. Like, I mean, if you're getting a little bit of poison with the medicine from Jeselnik, then you can take the good and run with it.
Jeselnik's also been very. I mean, I saw a huge spike in sales the day that he talked about it on his podcast.
Yeah,
so I didn't know what it was, and then someone sent me the clip.
You're working overtime you're mailing this shit out from your house.
Yeah, I am, man. It's cold in the garage now.
How many hours a day is that?
During the Kreischer time, it was like 8 hours a day.
When Kreischer was bumping it.
Yeah, like when Stanhope was talking about it, it was 8 hours a day. But after Kreischer, man, it was all hands on deck.
That's amazing, dude.
It was great, but also I didn't like expect him to put it on his Instagram story.
Yeah.
So I had like a certain, my inventory. I'd order books 1,000 at a time, and then my inventory was down to like the last 100, and those like moved. So then all these people are buying the book, and I'm doing Kreischer's pod. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for Amazon. It's like a 20-day process for them to get me the books.
Yeah.
So I'm like. Had to like print off like package or like labels, and then people would be like, it said it was printed on this day, and I'm like, USPS, man, they're the sorting machines, just like doing everything.
Trump's trying to shut down the USPS.
And also it was on fire around here, so like it was a terrible time to be shipping out of Fort Collins. It was a rough time.
There was fires, yeah.
But if anyone didn't ever receive a book, they'll hit me up and I'll send them another book.
There you go.
Which is luckily maybe less than 1% of books have been lost. Thank God.
Good.
But,
how many have sold so far?
We're close to 10,000.
Fuck yeah.
And a lot of those now are from Amazon, which is fine. But like for a while, it was my website. The first like 1,500, 2,000 were my website, and then it was very neck and neck with Amazon for a while, and now I've been defeated by Amazon.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll sell.
Like every independent bookseller.
Correct, yeah. Which is still fine. I mean, I got like the 29th and the 30th of every month, I get that check from Amazon, and it's cool. Yeah.
Nice, man.
And also Amazon's tight because like with my audiobook, for
Amazon
instance,
is tight, Sam Tallent.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like they are able to promote in Italy and in Ireland.
Right.
And if you bought Stanhope's book and you happen to live in Japan, or if you live in India or Pakistan, like you get suggested that my book, because so many people have bought it along with Stanhope's book. So like I'm reaching more people than I would have.
They're taking some money, but they're giving you something for that money they're taking, which is good.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, so it's cool. And then like with the audiobook, like
oh yeah, what's happening with you just sold the rights?
Sold the rights to the audiobook. All the people, all those big comics are still reading it.
Because you
read
did
it. Yeah. I have the audiobook done.
Yeah.
But then someone heard me on Kreischer, this big like agent guy, and he was like, "Hey man, like you can sell the rights to that audiobook if you want." So he sold it at auction.
I just listened to that on the way here, and Bert was like, I don't know how Audible works, and then he was describing buying a book on Audible. He was like he didn't know how to work Audible to buy a book for himself, not to like publish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was hilarious.
I think he has his hand held a lot.
Sure.
You know, because he's just like a cash cow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's cool because like I would have sold my audiobook either through an RSS feed to a podcast, and you would listen to it on a podcast player.
Okay.
Or I would have put it up on ACX, which is Audible's like self-publishing thing.
Okay.
And they take X amount of percentage of every sale. Or I sell it on my website, and you have to come to me to my website and buy it. And like, maybe I sell 1,000 audiobooks for $20 a book.
With no overhead. Yeah.
No overhead. Everyone did it for free. They were very generous.
That's awesome.
So maybe I get 20 grand. But in the UK, you can't. They don't have Audible.
Really?
They use something called like Streamify or something.
Okay.
It's a different client over there. And then in in fucking South Africa they have a different thing, and then Australia has a different thing. So selling the rights is cool because they do all that work.
Okay.
So I'm not going to make as much money as I would. Well, I mean that if you sell the rights, you get X amount of dollars from the deal, and then you get 25% of each book sale.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing the math in my head, like, damn, if I sold like, this many books myself, I'd make this amount of money, but also I don't want to have to do all that work.
And then all that work is done. Well, good.
So that's cool.
Because that was up in the air for a while. Because you tweeted about that, or you Instagrammed about that for a little while ago.
So I had the pre-orders up on my
my
website. They're supposed to come out October 1st. I got the book done, blah, blah, blah. And then I got hit up like September 28th by this guy, and he's like, I can sell the rights for this, but you can't sell it yourself. So I had to refund all those pre-orders.
Yeesh.
Which I hit people up. I sent a big email, and I was like, you can either get a copy of the book from me, like the paperback, or I can refund you. And I think probably 75% of people were like, I'll take the copy of the book.
Oh, that's great.
And then like 20% of people were like, hey man, keep the $20. Like, good for you.
Fuck yeah.
And then maybe 5-10% of people were like, no big deal. I'm happy for you. I'll take the refund.
Wow.
But I thought it was going to be like this cataclysmic, like, lack of integrity, like, how dare you, you charlatan, you huckster type thing. And it wasn't any of that shit. That was a fight I had in my head.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Total relief, dude.
Yeah. I'll let you go. I'll let you go pretty soon here. I guess I want to ask you, I'm traveling around the country in this van.
Yeah.
I've been asking people in different places, like if you could go somewhere in the United States in the lower 48 for like a weekend and you were driving there, where would you go?
So I have to drive there from here in Fort Collins?
No. I mean, I'm driving there, so wherever you think in the lower 48.
Okay, so this time of year, I'm going to give you a couple answers. This time of year, I would love to fly into Boston, and I'd love to spend a couple days in Boston, and then I'd love to drive up to Portland, Maine.
Ooh.
And then I'd love to pop over from there into Montreal.
Wow.
I'd like to go through Burlington and Manchester, and then go up into Montreal. Foliage, dude. And also Montreal is the easiest way to go to Europe when you're in America. Because it's so European, dude.
Oh.
I mean, it's just
to go to Europe. Figured
yeah. Because like I'd never been to Paris. Me and my best friends, me and Nathan in the Fine Gentlemen's Club went to Paris last year. Because I was like, dudes, we got to go somewhere. Like,
good
what
thing
are we
you
doing?
went, right?
For sure, yeah. And like I'm totally enamored with the romance of being in Spain and Italy, and like I go to Europe as much as fucking possible because I'm a total like just a wuss when it comes to the idea of those old streets and just being a flaneur and walking around and like smelling bread and drinking really good coffee and like eating squid in Spain or just eating the best bread in the world or fucking Italian tomatoes and drinking wine. Like all that shit just, I'm such a fucking prototypical pussy about Europe. Like I'm totally a 17-year-old girl who studied abroad. And now I come home and talk about how the olive oil is better. Like,
it's just better. It's just
me.
better there.
They don't use GMOs.
They don't use GMOs. It's pure.
Italy's small.
Yeah.
They don't bring anything in from outside of Italy due to the embargo.
Everything right there.
It's awesome.
And it's cheap because it's right.
Exactly.
It's
and
right
someone had their hand in that dough that morning.
That very morning.
So, dude, all the voice you're doing is me in my head. So I would go
Once more, artifice. You're afraid of the art of coming off as like a Euro lover douche.
right, but also like there's a reason that's an archetype.
Yes,
because
I
it
am,
is
yeah.
insanely moving the
am
first
that.
time you go there.
I think it's part of growing up is like, no. I'm not doing this thing where I like Europe. I just like Europe. You know what I mean?
It's not a bit.
It's not a bit, and
Yeah.
it's not a pretension.
No.
This is how I feel.
And also, there's not an uglier American in Europe than me. Like, I'm over there wearing fucking shorts, wearing a cowboy shirt.
They hate it.
Wearing fucking New Balance.
They hate it.
They hate it. Like, I wear a scarf when I'm in France.
You stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh my God.
They know.
They literally, when I order squid ink pasta in Rome, the chefs come out of the kitchen to watch me eat it. Like I don't know what they did in there. But this is something no one's ever ordered, and they get to come out and watch this fucking gluttonous buffoon consume this prank of a meal that no one's ever ordered off the menu. So yeah, I would go to Boston, hit Providence, go up to Portland, Maine, move over through Burlington and Manchester, New Hampshire, up to Montreal.
Montreal. Beautiful.
So that's one, just because it's seasonal.
All right.
It's any time of the year, I am flying to New Orleans, spending as much possible time in New Orleans as I can, driving east from there through Ocean Springs, hitting the casinos in Ocean Springs and Biloxi, and then going to Pensacola. And spending a couple days in Pensacola.
I was supposed to be at a wedding in Pensacola in earlier this month, and I didn't get to go. Obviously.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I know.
You've been there before?
I have not. I was gonna hit New Orleans on the way.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's New Orleans is like that's our best city.
Can you do comedy there?
Oh, yeah.
I know you can. Okay, you can do comedy.
Dude,
Okay.
if you're a young comic listening to this, you're like less than 5 years in, and you're looking, where do I move? To move to Chicago, to move to Seattle or Denver? Go to New Orleans for a year.
Damn.
Cost of living is very cheap.
Nice.
No better lifestyle. No better culture than in New Orleans. It's on the water. It's our oldest place. It's a real melting pot. You can like make friends with a black person, instead of just reading about it in books. But yeah, Pensacola, I'm going there for a week. I'm going there like the 14th of November through the 21st of November.
That'll help, right? That'll help with the winter blues. There's already fucking snow on the ground out there.
It was 12. I think we got 14 inches.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
on Sunday night. It was hell, dude.
My God. It's all melting now. The sun was out all day.
Yeah, I know. And it's been good. I've been able to get outside again because I like being outside a lot. But yeah, dude, Pensacola.
New Orleans. New Orleans pretty warm all year round?
Yeah, it is.
All right, good. Because I'm sleeping in a van.
Yeah, I mean, if you might have to wear a fucking sweatshirt.
Yeah.
What they think is cold there, like, I'm going to Pensacola in November with every intent of swimming.
Yeah.
Because no one will be on the beaches.
Yeah.
They think I'm insane. They're only on the beach 3 months out of the year.
It's 65 though, right?
It's
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, me and my wife and all of our best friends are going down there for a week and just eating grouper cheeks and fishing.
Ooh, grouper cheeks.
Yeah, it's cool because like the whole crew has a little bit of money these days. Like David Bory and like Brent Gill and my wife and like, so we're getting a very nice house and just gonna like live.
Got a little bit of money. It's nice.
A
Right?
little bit of money.
A little bit.
Like I'm not saying we're like rich, but like
I got that Airbnb split an Airbnb money.
correct, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a porno Airbnb. It's like a porno mansion type situation. And like, am I good with my money? I think so. But like when it comes to celebrating and being with people,
Well, you haven't had very much yet, right? I assume.
what's up?
You haven't had very much money yet.
I haven't had. This is the most money I've ever had in my life. Is right.
All
now.
right.
Yeah. So like, I've always been involved in
If
the
you didn't read the book, if you
cryptosphere.
didn't read the book, you would have been fucked.
No, yeah, for sure.
Because ads like you're making your money on the road.
Would have been crippled.
You would have maybe got some unemployment. Maybe I
I
think.
got unemployment.
Oh
too.
hell yeah. Okay, let's not even address that.
Yeah.
Woo.
Um.
Great.
Yeah, but I
That's
would
van money
have
right
been
there.
boned.
This podcast
dude.
is sponsored by the New York State Department of Labor. That's
Oh,
why,
good.
Yeah, that's why I.
Is
yeah.
that your van?
Yeah, the
Little white
Yeah,
van, and you
little
own
van.
that van?
I own it.
That's very cool. My
Third
band always
transmission.
wanted that van. Is it a Ford?
Ford Transit Connect.
Yeah. We always wanted the one that's a little bit longer.
Yeah, XLT.
Mm-hmm.
You look like the XLT model.
I've definitely
could sell these.
I've spent a lot of time in my early 20s trying to buy that van. Or a
Such
larger
great
one.
gas mileage, and it fits a twin mattress between the back seat and the back of the car, and that's all I need.
Yeah, you got to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should just be out there fucking slaying strange and like sleeping outside. Don't
Sure.
wink at me, you pig. It's a fucking visual podcast. They can see.
I know. I winked with the off eye.
Yeah.
Well, now it's all.
Look
Now
like
it's
you had
all.
Bell's palsy.
Now it's all.
No, but yeah, you should just be cleaning up right now. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah, you're fine, man. You're nailing it.
Yeah, I'm in my youth. So.
And as jealous as I am of a man in your situation, like I also love the domesticity of having a wife and a partner that I like admire and like look up to and really want to honor and like create a life together. But you know, it's always you're like, damn. If I didn't have a wife, I would have died from corona.
The grass is always green.
I wouldn't have quit working. You know?
No,
dude.
If it's just that's the thing. It's like if it's just me, it's like it's less. It's like I don't have. It's not like I have like elderly parents I'm going home to every night. It's like what do I if I get it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, thank you so much for the book is fucking Running the Light.
Running the
Available
Light.
at samtalent.com. Buy it at samtalent.com and not on Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm loving audiobooks right now, obviously, and that sounds
You read
like
Norm's audiobook?
no.
He
I've
reads
heard
it.
that autobiography is so funny and crazy.
I think it was the best novel that came out that year.
Fuck yeah.
Because it is
All
a
right.
novel. It's like he fights God and the devil in that book and stuff. He like goes like seal hunting.
It's
like,
entirely fictionalized.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm
There's
almost done
elements
with-
of truth.
I'm almost done with Matthew McConaughey's memoir right now, which is so fucking good.
Is it?
It's so good because of what it is. I mean,
And is that just because you're a hot dude who admires this swinging lifestyle?
oh shit, actually, yeah, he does.
Right?
After A Time to Kill, his big break, he bought a van and he brought his dog. He drove around with his dog, and he had a podcast mic and a tape recorder, so he could record my thoughts as I drove.
Yeah, that rules.
It was great. I mean, like he is a sure, he's a hero. Sure,
He also does rule.
he does rule. He's doing it on his own terms. I mean, like this is my thing where it's like I don't like McConaughey as a bit. I just think that he's an interesting and an inspirational dude.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I'd be like, I love McConaughey's audiobook, and I'd be like, nudge, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Aren't I so interesting and quirky? But I'm almost done with that. It's called Green Lights.
Yeah.
And he'll punctuate. He's reading it too, and like he'll be like, part 2. Woo! Like he just goes. I'm like, where is that written down, McConaughey? What would I have read if I read your book?
That's great.
He's like, it's part 2.
I mean, him and True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh my god,
He's the truth.
he's a master.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a master, and also he happens to be like a very chill dude who wants to. Yeah, I mean, like, and at no point does he apologize for the. He doesn't even question his own artifice. He doesn't question like the kind of fucking dumbass that he is. He's never like he'll have a story about like I had to fight my dad. He made me like he said fight me, and at no point does he go that was bad parenting. He goes, and that was the day I became a man. He just says that. He doesn't go like and and now as a father I understand that you shouldn't make your son fight you with a 2x4 to prevent you from stealing a bunch of pipe, that was the story.
What? Like copper pipe?
He goes, no. They used to sell oil pipe in Texas, and they call it rolling pipe. And he go, Matthew, we're gonna roll pipe tonight. And Matthew's like, I don't want to do that, Dad. And he goes, you're gonna roll pipe with your dad, or you're gonna fight me. And he had to fight him, stand up to his dad and fight him with a 2x4.
Like a bum, like king, like
Dude,
instead of a sword, it was a 2x4. Did
Yes,
his dad have
yes.
one too?
no.
So it was like a duel, but he had the weapon.
He had to fight his father, and what the result was only maturation on McConaughey's end and respect on his father's end. There was no that was a dysfunctional episode we just had.
Yeah.
We all need to address our drinking problems, and we need to talk about as a family that we have a toxic environment. None of that is addressed. Not even for a second is that even questioned that you wouldn't hit your dad in the head with a 2x4. So
Maybe
that's
I'll
I'm
listen to
finishing it.
this thing.
It's 6 hours. You'll breeze through it and
I
it's
saw he did
entertaining.
every podcast available, and I
Dude.
was like, "What's he up to?"
No one
With
else
that
can
book.
do. Yeah, no one else can. I feel like no one else can just do Rogan and Maron both on Zoom in the same week, and they would. I feel like they would be kind of like, come on. But he's just like, I'm doing it. Yeah, he got it. It's autobiography. It's called Green Lights, and he punctuates most paragraphs with the word green lights. He'd be like, and lo and behold, I got the part. Green lights. Like that. Like to himself. I'm like, is that written in the book? I don't know. So that's what
I'm into it.
So the audiobook would be, I'm sure it sounds awesome. You got Mark Normand, who else do you have?
Kreischer, Stanhope, Ari Shafir, Chris Gethard. Let me pull
The
it
Crew,
up.
Adam
Adam Caton Holland.
of course, Denver's Own.
Yeah, David Bory.
Your boy.
My best friend in the world. Jesus Christ, I can't.
And a bunch of nobodies who you don't even care about anymore.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking idiots.
Obviously, if they were important
Kreischer,
at all.
Stanhope, Shafir, Kinane, Dan Soder, Mark Norman, Chris Gethard, Trey Crowder, Jackie Cation, David Bory, Adam Caton Holland, and there's a couple secret voices that are
Hell
in there.
yeah.
That probably not good to mention who they are, so I can be on the right side of history.
Aha. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Message received. That was a.
It's Louis.
Is it?
It's Louis Farrakhan.
Hey, not Louis
No, but Louis
Farrakhan.
has the book.
Fuck yeah.
Joe List gave Louis the book.
Ooh. So I didn't know Joe List read it. That's great. I listen to
Yeah,
Joe List podcast. He didn't mention it on his podcast.
No,
Sorry to say.
I think they're gonna when the audiobook comes out, I'm gonna have them do a
Fuck
yeah for sure.
You buy an ad.
Not
Or
even.
they might
I
go
was
do an
because Joe was like, "This is insane."
Yes.
Because Mark Norman can't read. Like literally, like him reading that audiobook was like painful. It might have been the most. That's altruism, dude. Norman got nothing from that. He dragged himself across glass.
He's like dyslexic, right?
to do
Well,
a
he just
favor to
can't-
someone he's met 3 times.
He faced his like elementary school trauma.
Yeah,
probably.
dude. Yeah.
Like he was probably dreading like I'm next in line, gotta read, better
Yeah.
come up with something funny to say. Like that's like I could see that being why he's funny.
Dude, fucking Soder should be reading every audiobook in the world.
What a voice.
Oh, and also he did characters. He did voices for every character. You know? But yeah, get that audiobook when it comes out.
Get the
man.
audiobook. Anything else? Those are the plugs. Thank you so much for doing the podcast,
this was
man.
a pleasure, man.
It really
Thank
was
you.
for me as well.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. So that is it. Thank you for listening to my episode with Sam Tallent, eloquent guy, smart guy, talented guy, if you will. Pardon the pun. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and like the page. If you're watching this on Instagram, whatever, you share it in your story. You know how to support. You know how to support podcasts. I would really appreciate it personally. If you personally know me, I will reach out and thank you if you do any of these things. And I will consider it a personal favor, and I will personally help you move. If you do any of these things for me right now, because I'd love to have this thing take off. So those are all the asks. Thank you so much for listening to the end right now. Our theme song is by Steve Gerrard. How great was that theme song? I love it. I'm so excited that he was able to do that. And he records music under the name Sofas. That's his band's name, Sofas, Sofas. And the logo on the podcast is designed by Rudy Schultz, and he does great work. So have him do work for you. Thanks again for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next time.